I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need that hind to throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. When you're not around, when you throw that to the side, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time, yeah. 713 through the 21, yeah, I'm riding. Why they on me? Why they on me? I'm flying, sipping low key. I'm sipping low key and honest, find a rider. I get those goosebumps every time you come around, yeah. You ease my mind, you make everything feel fine. Worry about those comments, I'm way too numb, yeah. It's way too dumb, yeah. I get those goosebumps every time I need the high.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Loading Bag NUFC, the live watch-along of the Carabao Cup game, Newcastle United versus Man City. And we thought we'd do a little bit something a bit different this evening. So welcome all of you joining us in the stream and coming in flocks right now. And yeah, I've got a special guest to join me in this pre-match build-up, and it's the one and only Double O Stato, the Doctor Doom, Mr. Keith Roll. How are you doing?
Evening, Peter. It wouldn't be an away days or a match day live without some Doom stats before we get going, is there? Got to get them in. Got to get them in ready, haven't we?
We have definitely. But great to see so many in the chat. I like to Kamal, like to Antoon Army, William Smith, Jordan Two for Life was straight in there, as was Craig Lee and Harry Austin as well. Great to have you in there, and welcome to everyone else who's ploughing in. Get your questions in, get your thoughts on the lineup, and a few are as well. Paul's in the chat already making his comments on the lineup, and here it is. This is our lineup for this evening. Look, Keith, I'll run it through the lineup first, and then I'm going to get your thoughts on it. So, Nick Pope in goal. We have a centre-back pairing of Paul Dummett and the captain Jamal Lascelles, with Livramento on the right, Target on the left, and midfield three of Lewis Miley, 17-year-old Lewis Miley, making his sort of first start of the season, with Lewis Hall in the midfield three alongside Sandro Tonali, and then the front three of the returning Joe Linton. He's back after injury. Alexander Isak up top in the middle, and Jacob Murphy on the right. I've got to ask you, Keith, is it what you're expecting? What do you make of that lineup? And is it, in your opinion, a lineup that can do the job, get us in the next round?
Well, it wasn't, an answer to the first question, it wasn't the lineup I was expecting. Certainly not the back four. It's really taken us by shock. I mean, how many changes are on that board there from what we're normally used to see? Is there about maybe 6, 7 changes there than what we're used to in a starting lineup for a Newcastle lineup?
I did hear that the only one to keep his place from Sheffield United was Nick Pope, so he's made 10 changes, which is crazy.
That's incredible. I think, squad rotation is really coming in here to play now, isn't it? With the, Champions League, then Premier League, then League Cup, then again Premier League again at the weekend, and then Champions League again coming up next week. So there's a lot of that coming into how I was thinking. As soon as this draw was made, I dreaded it. Being Man City, I would have preferred it, like maybe a Lincoln City or something like that in the third round at home. That would have been perfect. The home part was great, but the team we're playing isn't. We've got to get on with it. But I think, with that squad lineup there, that team lineup, no, it doesn't necessarily fill me with confidence at all, really, because although there's changes in the City team, it's still a fairly strong lineup, especially in attack for the City team. It's a long time, I think, since we've seen Paul Dummett as well feature in the first team as well, isn't it? From, I believe.
I think, it must have been pre-season when we're on the US tour was the last time that we saw him. And I've got to be honest, Keith, I don't know what your thoughts are. I did not expect him to play a minute this season.
No. From what I was reading earlier this week, I thought that maybe, Newcastle were open to offers come the next window with how looking to strengthen. Maybe a few of those players, certainly Dummett, because he just hasn't played. And I know Emil Kraft as well hasn't played as well. So he would be one as well, who would be earmarked for a transfer in the January window. But he's gotten the nod tonight, but they say never change your back four, but the whole back four has completely changed to what we're used to recently. I think only really Target's played recently. I know Livramento as well, just starting to figure as well now in the team, but it's certainly not a recognised or a side that's got the understanding maybe yet in the back four yet that are used to playing together. Great experience again though for Livramento, Miley and Hall, certainly getting the nod in the starting lineup. I think that's a good thing. It's great to see Joelinton back, certainly in the starting lineup. And again, I do like Murphy. I think Murphy's been, in the last year or so, he's probably been one of Newcastle's most improved players. So, to add to his experience last week and how well he did last week in Milan, it's good to see him getting the nod in the starting lineup.
Definitely. I'm intrigued to see how this is going to work. So, like, the way in which I've got it right now is that I think I've got Lewis Miley in that sort of defensive role, which is where he played in sort of the Tour of America. Do you see him playing in that role? Tonali potentially playing on the right. The reason why I say this, and I don't know if you noticed, Keith, during watching the Sheffield United game, is when Tonali came on, he actually played in this position, and Bruno went out to the right. So I am intrigued to see how this is going to go. But in your opinion, what would you go for? Would you go for Lewis Miley in that deeper role and Tonali on the right?
Yeah, I think tonight would be the opportunity for that. Really, it's a chance to sort of see if things. It's a chance to experiment, I guess, almost to write the game off. You're playing against the most successful side in League Cup competition in recent years, in the last 10 or so years. So why not, sort of have a blank piece of paper, almost go with what you know in attack, but why not try a few things out? Because I know that things haven't quite been gelling in that midfield. Maybe it's a chance for the likes of a Lewis Miley to come in there, see if how he can gel and how he can play in that sort of defensive midfield role. We know sometimes that Tonali does like to go forward, so why not give that role to Lewis Miley and see, because he hasn't really been tried yet in the Premier League games, has he? I know he did a little bit in the pre-season, but why not tonight? If City are going to win, they're going to win, and I think one game out of 30 that they've lost against Newcastle. So, and you kind of get a draw tonight. So, why not just give them that chance and let's see how it goes tonight?
No, I think that's more than a fair point, and I think that he's given lots of players their chance tonight. Matty Target has been asking for a chance at left back. He's been given his opportunity tonight. Jamal Lascelles hasn't really kicked much of a ball this season as the club captain, so he's been given his opportunity to lead the line there. Tino Livramento, as you mentioned and you talked about earlier, it's very, very difficult to dislodge Kieran Trippier at the moment. So the fact that he's been given his opportunity, you would expect that he would need to really impress if he's going to be sort of getting many more minutes in the team. But look, it's easy for us to say, oh, they need a really good game tonight when they're playing against such a formidable team in Man City. And look, Pep Guardiola talked about in his press conference that he was going to be playing the youngsters and that he didn't care about the Carabao Cup.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like a a manager. This doesn't look like a team or a manager that doesn't care about the Carabao Cup with the players that he's got out there. What do you make of that, Keith?
It's a classic mind game, isn't it? Really,
Mm,
they often say, and I've heard it say in the last couple of years, that Man City have duplicated the old Man United templates. And who was at the helm of that Man United template? It was the king of mind games himself, Sir Alex Ferguson.
yeah,
And Pep, he just fits into that role, really. The complaints about, you know, getting the bus instead of a plane from, a 27-minute plane back to Manchester,
yeah,
it all adds into it. It's buying the advantage, and again, he cares. He'll be wanting to go for that quadruple, let alone treble this season, because he knows that's the one he missed out of by not going for the quarterfinals. So if he can, steal a march, he knows Newcastle away is a difficult game. It's a hostile atmosphere. Regardless of results in recent years against Newcastle, he knows, so he's trying to get as many advantages as possible. If he can get away with thinking, I'll have to play the kids, we all know that Man City have got enough for two strong lineups, really, haven't they?
yeah.
So probably got the best squad in the world for that, really, in terms of depth. So it's never going to wash, really, in terms of the mind games, and I'm sure Howe knows that as well. He'd be expecting a strong City lineup as well. So
It's going to be interesting. And look, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say where I think it could be very, very difficult for both teams in certain areas. So for me, this area here, Paul Dummett's going to have a very, very good game against the
that
likes of Alvarez.
that is the area that worries me, the central mid, because we're central defence, because we know how good that Sven Botman has been an integral. I pulled out a stat last season. I think it wasn't until the League Cup final when Sven Botman played that Newcastle actually got beat in that sort of settled back four that we were used to. That was so strong last season.
Mm,
Dummett coming in after however long out against Alvarez, a guy who he's already got 3 assists this season and he has a couple of goals, one of them against Newcastle at the Etihad. And this guy here, Alvarez, Martin Keown's actually been comparing him to a Dennis Bergkamp. So
wow.
we know, and that's mighty praise indeed, and a mighty comparison as well. So a young Dennis Bergkamp-like player against Paul Dummett, a guy who, with the greatest respect, who hasn't been in the starting lineup for however long. It's a mismatch when you put it like that. I think Lascelles, he's proven when he's came, he's been very professional when he hasn't been in the mainstay in the starting lineup. He's came in and done a job several, on the occasions he came in, he hasn't let anybody down when he's came in. So there's some consistency there at least.
No, I think that's a fair point. There's still a lot of Newcastle fans that have a lot of respect for Paul Dummett in the job that he's done, and there's a lot of trust there from him from sections of the fan base as well. So I do think his lack of football could play a part in that. So that's an area for me.
Match fitness. I'm not saying he's going to have a howler. He's not going to have a terrible game, but that speed and sharpness and match fitness, it just isn't there. You need it as an athlete, and it's a big ask of Dummett to go in there in a changed back four and to pull out a blinder.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. Other areas on the pitch. So for Newcastle, I actually think this area here is an area that we could exploit. Rico Lewis is a good player, a good young player at Man City, good on the ball, can manipulate the ball really well, can link the play. You'll find him kind of dot into midfield as we go along. But he's not the biggest or the strongest. He's actually quite a small player. And I think Joe Linton, with his pace and his power, could really dominate that area, playing on that left-hand side. And that could well be in there. I'll also say here, that's going to be a really good matchup, potentially. And I think that Isak could get the better of Ake. Ake is a very, very good defender, good at what he did. what he does. He was probably the in my opinion the best performing left back in the Premier League last season, Nathan Ake, but he's playing centre back tonight. I do think there is an odd mistake in Ake that can be exploited, and if you want anyone to be exploiting Ake, it's Alexander Isak. That's for sure. Here as well, just because of his lack of playing time, I think Tonali could get the better of Gomez. Gomez is a very much an attacking player. He likes to get forward, but actually he's not a guy that likes to get back. And that's where potentially Tonali on the counter, or if we're manipulating the ball, could get the better of them. An interesting battle, and I want to get your thoughts on this before we go to the chat, is this one here. You know, they might not come up and clash against each other very often in Lewis Miley and Calvin Phillips, but I'm intrigued to see how both of them get on, because look, Calvin Phillips has been getting a little bit of stick recently at Man City for his lack of minutes, not really coming with the money that they spent on him, bringing him in from Leeds. He's not really done the business, but then you've got a 17-year-old Lewis Miley, who literally lit up our pre-season. What do you make of that potential, like not necessarily a matchup, but like, you know, comparing positions in terms of how both players are likely to play in this game?
Well, there's certainly that level of intrigue for sure, and this could sort of blindside Guardiola a bit, because we know how good he's been, but he hasn't been a player who's figured. So he's almost like a secret hand, really, in a card game as such. And we know what Calvin Phillips can do. And you're right about Calvin Phillips not really getting that match playing time. It's almost like he hasn't yet made that transition, whereas Grealish made that transition in the second season. So this is a big season for Calvin Phillips, who wanted to play for that second season. Sorry, he wanted to stay at City and fight for his place. So he's got a point to prove tonight, has Calvin Phillips. We know how good he's been in the past, particularly when he was at Leeds with England, certainly. But yes, there's going to be possibly maybe a chess game going on there in that middle of the park between Lewis Miley and Calvin Phillips, sort of feeling each other out for a bit in those battles. But obviously there's more experience there with Phillips, but is there a bit of ring rust there too?
Yeah, could well be. He's had a period of time out and away from the team, but he has been playing sort of under 23s. He has been getting some football here and there, whereas the likes of Dummett hasn't really been playing any football at all. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how sort of that plays out. I'll take that off for just a second, and we'll definitely come back to that later on. But look, lots in the chat are making sort of comments about the back line. Andrew DB, great to have you in the chat. And great to see you in with the loaded community as always. But Target, Dummett, Lascelles, that is all. Lawrence Evans, welcome. Even everyone, I'm going for an Alexander. He's at masterclass tonight. Dummett will have learned from Botman. Let's go. Yeah, we haven't really talked about too much about Alexander Isak. What you know, is this a game where he needs to impress?
Yeah, he didn't have the best game in Milan, but then again, we weren't expecting that many clear-cut chances in Milan, were we? Really? Got his goal on Sunday. He was on the score sheet on Sunday. It sort of went a little bit quiet recently, certainly for Isak before the Sheffield United game. But I mean, if I'm honest, I thought that Wilson would have been playing tonight, but I agree with the squad rotation. Maybe the chances he might get one or two chances for him, and he does go for the spontaneous, doesn't he, with his chances and his goals that he's taken. So I always, I do obviously really rate Isak, and he does go for the spectacular, and I think I think it would be a chance against, you know, a very much changed City back line as well. And the keeper himself, I think he's only played about 14 games or so, hasn't he? I think it's 14 games last season. So again, he's not the number one. Edison, it'd be interesting to know that that Edison he's never, certainly against Newcastle, he's certainly players against Newcastle, he's always kept a clean sheet. He's got a brilliant record against Newcastle whenever he's played them. So maybe this is a chance again to test another keeper in Ortega as well.
Yeah, definitely. And look, whilst you're there, if anyone's wondering, Daps is on his way. He'll be here shortly. He did drop me a message, so he won't be too long away. But what are the stats? What stats have you got for us tonight? But as we get prepared for kickoff.
You didn't tell me about stats tonight, Pete. I'm not prepared. Only joking. You see, you thought you'd get us there early and say, I need you at 7:30. I need you at 7:30, and just come on the show. You don't need to worry. But I do have some stats. You'll be pleased to hear, and all the audience will be pleased to hear. I've got some stats. So Newcastle United, Manchester City. So Newcastle's all-time record in this fixture: played 124 times, won 40, drawn 25, and lost. Also lost 60 against Manchester City. 59, sorry. Newcastle's record against Man City in cup competitions, however, they've played 15 times, they've won 6, drawn 3, and lost 6. With 20 goals for Newcastle and 21 for Man City. So fairly even in the cup competitions. Newcastle have got a better record against City in FA Cup meetings with 5 wins, 2 draws, and 3 defeats than in the League Cup meetings with 1 win, 1 draw, and 3 defeats. And the 15 games between Newcastle and Man City in cup competitions have included 2 cup finals, a 3-1 win for Newcastle in the 1955 FA Cup final, and a 2-1 win for Man City in the League Cup final in 76. The highest scoring game in this fixture in the Cups was a 9-goal thriller in the FA Cup in the 50s, 1957, when Newcastle beat Man City 5-4 at Main Road. There's only been 1 win, however, against Man City in the League Cup, and that was surprising because that was at the Etihad Stadium, a 2-0 win in 2014-15 with goals from Rolando Aarons and Moussa Sissoko. Newcastle have only beaten Manchester City once in 17 games in all competitions since that cup win as well. Current run is 1 win, 3 draws, and 13 defeats in the last 17. The last time they met in the cup competitions was the FA Cup quarterfinals in 2019-20 during COVID, when City won 2-0 at St James's with goals from De Bruyne and Sterling. Anthony Gordon, I mean, these stats here, I mean, unfortunately, I mean, they might play a part, but in terms of the players here, Anthony Gordon, 2 goals and 2 goal scoring assists in 7 for Newcastle this season. He's in red hot form, but he's not in that starting lineup for Newcastle tonight. And Phil Foden, on the other hand, we might breathe a sigh of relief. He's got 4 goal scoring assists for Man City already this season.
Wow.
Erling Haaland, we're pleased he's not in the starting lineup. He's now scored 60 goals for Manchester City in all competitions since the start of last season. 44 of those came in the Premier League. In all competitions in his time, no other player has reached even 50 goals in the big 5 leagues in Europe. The goalkeepers, again, Nick Pope, he's managed 3 clean sheets in 7 games in all competitions for Newcastle, plus 3 in his last 3 games, so he's on form. And Nick Pope, however, in the 12 games he's played against Man City, he's never managed to keep a clean sheet so far against them. Edison, again, this won't really play a part yet. He's kept 3 clean sheets in 8 this season for City, and he's kept 7 clean sheets and 12 against Newcastle whenever he's played them in all competitions. The manager's Pep Guardiola. He's managed 14 games. He's won 11, drawn 2 and lost 1 against Newcastle. Whereas Eddie Howe, out of 14 games, he's drawn 1 and lost 13. He's never beaten a team managed by Pep Guardiola. And a few general stats to round off. In the last Newcastle game, Kieran Trippier became only the second player in Premier League history to assist 3-headed goals, after Jason Puncheon did that for Crystal Palace against West Ham in February 2015. And Phil Foden's opening goal finished off a 46 pass move, Manchester City's longest pass in sequence, leading to a goal in the Premier League since 2006-07.
Wow.
And this season, Manchester City will be aiming to win the quadruple of the European Cup, Domestic League, Domestic Cup, and Domestic League Cup in the same season. Celtic's Lisbon Lions were the only team to have done that so far, when they won that version of the quadruple back in 1967. And he has an interesting stat for you, Pete, to round off. Manchester City have now won 20 consecutive games in all competitions, becoming just the 4th different top flight side in England to do that. So one of them was Manchester United back in 2011. They won 20. Preston North End in 1892 and 21. And Sunderland in 1892, 1892 to 24. So, you're talking 2 centuries ago, but still, they'll hang on to that. So literally those are the stats to round off. Thank you.
Fair play. It was interesting, and I'll bring him in now. When you said the quadruple, I could see Daps kind of shaking his head, and here he is.
Do you know why? Do you know why it is? So here's a stat for you, yeah. And this is one of the reasons why. If we win this and we get through to the quarterfinal, yeah, we have to play the quarterfinal of this on the same day or the day before the Club World Cup.
Wow.
Ooh.
Same day or the day before. Liverpool had to do it a few years ago. So it's one of them ones where, and this is Pete, I've been speaking to you saying what Pep's been saying about, I think on this one, if it's in the back of my head, you're thinking which one of the two are we throwing? Because we have to either throw the Club World Cup or we have to throw the Carabao. Because last time Liverpool, if you remember, it's a season where Liverpool in the Carabao Cup put out just a load of players that people didn't even know. Because it's mad. There must be a way. I know the schedule's hectic, but there must be a way that you can do it, because last season we had a weekend or two and the World Cup, right? And we still managed to do the season. So there must be a way that they surely could, because I think situations like this are where it gets to, that club's disrespecting a tournament. Right? If you don't want a club to disrespect a tournament, then just put your heads together and work out how you can separate those games, and it'll be fine. Because I'll tell you now, Pep doesn't go into any game wanting to lose a game of football, right? There's no game. So there's no City going out today throwing this game, right? But in the back of City's head, there might be let's reserve a bit of energy, because even if we get through this and we get through the next round, we're going to have to potentially throw the quarters. So, I don't know. Don't think our team isn't, I mean, you look at the City team, though, it's got Oscar Bob in, but who else? We got Phillips in, I believe. Who else we got in there? Ortega, but Ortega's a great keeper. Lewis in, Akanji, Ake, Vardio, Gomez, Phillips, Kovacic, Bob, Grealish, Alvarez. So, still a Premier League team, isn't it?
It's still a strong lineup for sure.
Yeah, still a.
Well, you're absolutely right. And look, just as we have a little break there, the game has kicked off.
Yeah.
War flags are out. The flags were waving high. The scarves being waved. Newcastle are currently chasing down Man City's defense. But look, Daps is in the house, everyone. Great to have you in from Never a Foul.
Good to be here.
And lots of.
I haven't done a Watchalong for a long time, man. For a long time.
Us neither, and we thought why not make the most of it?
Yeah.
That's for sure. And obviously Keith throwing us some fantastic stats as well. Look, great to have you all in the chat. If you haven't already, click that like button and click the subscribe, and come and join the Loaded family. And of course, whilst you're there, don't forget to click a like and a sub to all of the content that Never a Foul do. I think you just approached 17k, is that right?
We just hit it, yeah. I just saw that this morning. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been grown from 2,000 to 17,000 in just over a year. So
wow,
it's good.
That's crazy. Yeah. Whatever potions you've been putting together to get to that, you need to send us some, bro.
Well, consistency, 2 shows a day, same time, every day. That is simple, and also just avoiding certain other channels at times as well.
Yeah, of course.
I was going to ask you for the thumbnail, but I've just found it. Perfect.
Got it.
Yeah.
Quality. Keith,
what's your lineup like? Sorry.
Well, we have it here, so I'll add it in
perfect.
there. So this is the team and what it's looking like in kickoff. So we have to be honest, and I got Keith's thoughts on this as we were building up to the game. We've gone for a very much a youthful side. So no Trippier, no Burn, no Botman, no Shaw. So the back four is the complete revamp. The only one out that back five is Nick Pope that stays in. Lewis Miley's only 17 years old, playing in that defensive midfield role alongside Lewis Hall, who was brought in as a left back but cannot play in centre midfield.
Is this his debut?
No, he made his debut Sunday. He came on as a sub.
Right. But this is his first start. Yeah.
And then the big surprise for us is Joe Linton's back. On the left hand side of the attack. So that was the biggest, I think, surprise for all of us in this. But the game started a little bit scrappy in the middle. Both teams sort of giving the ball away cheaply. Tonali's just turned Kovacic on the ball.
What minute are you on? Just so I know.
3 minutes 21.
All right, I'm 20 seconds behind you.
Okay. So I'll try and refrain as much as I can.
You can't refrain. It's cool.
If something happens, but
I actually think if you look at the two teams, they're probably quite balanced as far as the changes.
Yeah.
No, do you know what? I'd probably say you've got more changes than us potentially.
We've made 10 changes actually.
Yeah.
We've made 10.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think, apart from you look at Isaac and Joe Linton, you've got Tonali, but apart from that, and Pope, apart from that, the rest of the team's pretty not first teamers, are they?
Nah, not really. I mean, Joe Linton would be, but he's been injured for the last.
Yeah.
We haven't seen much of him, but other scores on the doors: Villa 0, Chris H 1. Our resident Evertonian.
Everton are beating
Newcastle. Yeah, beating Villa 1-0. I think Arsenal are beating Brentford as well.
Okay.
1-0.
Oh, well, they've got to concentrate on something, haven't they? Because they're not winning the Premier League. So
yeah, there we go. Those little digs in there early doors. I like it. And the surprise of the tie is Leicester 1-0 up against Liverpool at Anfield, I believe. And that was after 3 minutes. I believe that's the same score. People in the chat, let us know. Let us know if those scores are slightly different. And here he is, Chris Hall, our resident Evertonians in the house. Big welcome to Daps. Let us through tonight, lad. That's what he's asking for. 007. Great to see you for Matchday Live. As well.
It's one of those ones that if we don't win this, instantly it's not the Newcastle fans that'll do my head in. It'll be the Arsenal fans, won't it?
Oh, yeah.
That'll be what it is. If City don't win this, it won't be the Newcastle fans that do my head in.
What's it going to be?
It'll
What's
be
it
the
going to be like, Daps? What's it going to be like, Daps, tonight at 10 o'clock on TalkSport if Newcastle were to do the job?
Oh, that's yeah, and on Never a
Jason,
Foul, to be frank.
Jason
Yeah.
Cundy and O'Hara on at 10 o'clock, and what they'll be like, it'll be Jason Cundy saying, "Has anybody seen?" And it'll just be
That's
an endless
it's.
stream.
Do you know? That's the thing, right? So most games, most weekends when if I go to Manchester as an example, but even on away games, if we win, then I'm like, I won't be coming on the show tonight because I'll be going out. There's no need for me to come on the show. If we lose, I have to change all my plans to go and do a show because everyone is like, right, where's Daps? You know, what's happening with City? And I remember, to be fair, I remember last year when Southampton knocked us out. And then I had to do Big Six with KG the comedian, and that was when Man United were on their little run of form.
Yeah. Oh God.
Oh,
That was insufferable, mate.
yeah, and back then I think Pep came out and said that was the worst City team. The worst performance since he's managed Manchester City. That game. I know Calvin Phillips had absolute. In fact, the two players that were really bad for us were Calvin Phillips and Gomez. Were awful, and Lavia had a really good game. And if you remember, Lavia came from us, so it's like we've got rid of Lavia, we brought in Calvin Phillips as the Rodri replacement, and Lavia just completely controlled the whole game. And
yeah, oh God. Newcastle had a free kick on the halfway line, a foul on Lewis Hall, I believe by Kanji, but it got broken down, and Newcastle been playing it across the park. Man City just one possession back. Rico Lewis on the ball. 7 minutes gone. Nothing really happening in either box. Just really a little bit scrappy, playing it across the midfield. I think both teams look like they're trying to feel each other out to see what the situation is.
Players trying to get used to each other as well, right?
Yeah, definitely.
For both of us, we're both these are teams that haven't really played too much together, so probably even more so. I'll be honest, even more so for your team. The more I look at it, the more I think,
Craig Lee.
So a lot of these players have probably never played together.
No, yeah,
you guys,
definitely. For us, yeah. A lot of them didn't. Craig Lee's put Daps, Ty, and Kaz were gushing over Man United last night.
So before the show last night, Ty came round to watch it here with Cass, and I find it funny. Literally, they were saying, and do you know what? Everyone in the comments was saying, "Oh, Ty's shameless. Cass is shameless. Cass will make shameless statements about Man United. Ty's delusional. It's not shameless, because shameless is that you kind of know the truth, but you're still going to back your team. Whereas Ty, he means what he says. When he says we're back, and when he says now this is where it starts for Man United, when he says, all right, he actually said this on a pre-record we did that came out this morning. He said, this is where I feel, all right, we're not going to win the Premier League this season, but we're in the Champions League, we're in the Carabao Cup, and we're in the FA Cup. We can win all three of them. And I was like, what, Man United can win the Champions League this season? He's like, why can't we? And I was like, fucking hell, man.
Oh, brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. I think Kaz will always say something to rock the boat, I think, whenever I've been on with Kaz or listened to him.
Yeah.
He'll always say something to rock the boat about any other club, but when it's his, it's a very different story, especially when they're winning as well. Oh, Isaac is away. Isaac's away in the box. Oh, it's good defending.
When you can't see it, I'm just waiting on you, waiting on your commentary to tell me if you scored or not.
Yeah, no, it was a good little run. I think he tried to duck and weave a little bit as he approached the box. He could, if it had been a little bit more direct, gone one way and stuck to it, he could have got away from him and created an opportunity. But a nice little run there early on from Isaac. Good, I think it was Vardio. Good defending there.
Do you know what, Vardiol's, and actually I think against you in the league, Vardiol broke down a
a counter-attack, I
The
remember.
counter-attack, about 3
In the second
players up
half.
by himself. Yeah. Do you know, I said this on City Extra after the game at the weekend when I came out of the ground. You know, for City, people were talking about Doku. People have spoke about Kovacic. Vardy's come in and he's played, I think, pretty much, he might have even played almost every game for us since he's arrived. No one's speaking on him yet, but that second half performance at the weekend against Forest, we went down to 10 men. He was unbelievable. And this is the thing, it won't get spoke on because I guess people don't really speak on City's defence too much. Yeah. But I think when it gets to the back end of the season, Vardy's going to be massive to us because now it's one of those, tonight we don't have Ruben Diaz, right? And that's always been the one for me. When Ruben Diaz is in the City back four, we look like a different team. And I just think Vardy he has that in him to step up and be, you know, the demand, a solid defender. I honestly think Vardy and Diaz could strike up a partnership long term, similar to dare I say it, Rio and Vidic almost.
Wow.
Now that is saying something, that because we know how good Rio and Vidic were.
Definitely.
But that's what I mean. We look at Diaz, and I had an Arsenal fan the other day saying his statement was, "It's mad to think that we Arsenal have the best centre back, the best the best centre back, the best winger, and what was the third one? The best
striker."
I think he was saying that. I think he probably said, yeah, he did, the best 8. So the best 8, the best centre back. So they were saying Odegaard, best 8 in the world at the moment, he believes, right? He said obviously Saka, best winger in the world at the moment, and he said Saliba, best centre back in the world at the moment, right? And I said I think Ruben Diaz is the best. If we're gonna go on, what has Saliba done? He's had one good season, and by the way, I think Saliba's sensational. But if we look at Ruben Diaz, he's been in the Premier League for 3 seasons. His first season, he won Premier League Player of the Season, not Man City Player of the Season, not Best Defender of the Season, Premier League Player of the Season. We won the league. The second season, he was in. Second season, we won the league, and he was in Team of the Year. Third season, we did the treble. He was in Team of the Year, and also last season our form picked up the minute he came back from injury, and I just said you can't. And this is when Ruben Diaz had his first season. I wouldn't compare him to Van Dijk ever, because I'm like, nah, he's had 1 year in this division. You know, people want to compare him to Van Dijk. Van Dijk was on his like 4th or 5th. You can't do that. Saliba comes in, and now it's, you know, best defender in the world from 1 season. You know, who had a better season last season, Botman or Saliba?
I might be a little bit biased here, but I thought Botman was outstanding, and Saliba missed a whole chunk of games,
which is relevant, by the way.
Yeah,
availability is important. You've got to
think. I gave a stat earlier as well, and I've said on the show last year before the cup final that Newcastle hadn't lost to that point when Botman had played, and that was in February. So. And how far Newcastle had came, and how many goals they conceded to that point.
He might have missed him at the start of this season as well, to be fair, because he missed a few games start of this season, didn't he? Has he missed a few this season?
But Botman hasn't. This is the first game.
I don't think so.
Botman's. Yeah, this is the first game that Botman's missed.
Rested.
Yeah, he's not even in the squad. He's been completely rested.
I thought he was injured at the start of the season.
Botman, Botman wasn't. No.
Do you know what that is? That's literally, well, that shows you how much I rate Botman. That's me putting down your bad run of form that you had on the fact that I presume that Botman wasn't playing. I think Botman's
Liverpool game, wasn't it? Yeah.
He got injured just before. Was it at 1-0 or was it at 1-1? Yeah, no, it was at 1-1.
Yeah, he came off against Liverpool. He came off against Liverpool. Yeah, game. That's it. Sorry, that's it. He came off against Liverpool. Yeah, I knew there was a point where, and that could have been it. That, you know, you conceded your second when he was off the pitch, and then missed the Brighton game.
Yeah, that was it. And that's the situation that we were in. We didn't look anywhere near as comfortable when he wasn't in the team, and since he's come back in, like he's
Yeah.
like at Brentford, AC Milan, Sheffield United, he's looked the absolute part. But we need to look after him. He could play every game, but we don't want him to get injured in a game like this, where he could be out for weeks and it impacts our whole season. Like we just can't afford for it to happen.
It gets to a point as a club where that's where you want to be. You don't want to be rushing players back. You don't want to be relying on players. If you look at Saka and Arsenal at the moment, you know, Saka's got this Achilles issue apparently, where it's apparently not an injury, but it's a concern, right? And that it didn't get spoke on much last season. Something similar with Phil Foden last year. He had an uncomfortable... Nah, you haven't celebrated, so it can't have led to anything.
No, not yet. To be fair, Man City are playing it around probably about 35, 40 yards out, just across their midfield, just knocking the ball around, trying to keep possession. Newcastle are in tight, locked in, particularly that midfield three. They're really locked in tightening those spaces in and behind. And Man City are now just kind of working the ball back. But
did Anthony Gordon or Harvey Barnes, one of those two, get injured for you at the weekend?
Harvey Barnes.
Harvey Barnes.
Yeah.
What is it? A bad one?
Yeah, it looks like a metatarsal.
It's niggly, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like a metatarsal break. They've not officially said it, but yeah. Hold on. Oscar Bob is away. He's put in Alvarez. Pope saves and is cleared by Livramento. That's probably the best opening we've had so far. It was a nice little bit of play. A ball in from Phillips into Oscar Bob. He's free. Alvarez moves, makes a run on the outside, puts it across goal. Pope saves with his foot.
And that was a good pass.
I think it might have been before Alvarez. No, not Alvarez.
We should have followed that one up. Should have followed it up, shouldn't we? I tell you what, that was nice from Phillips. That was nice from little things like that is what. So, you know, I think most City fans at the moment today, we're either watching Oscar Bob, or we're watching Calvin Phillips, because it's these type of games at the moment that, you know. So Calvin Phillips is a lovely guy, lovely. Yeah. This is all, you know. Steve speaks with him a lot, says he's the nicest guy, and it's kind of like, get that, and that's great, but we need more than a nice guy. We need him, because he was brought in to give Rodri a rest, because Rodri's another player that's played way too many games. Not for us, then he's off to Spain, plays pretty much every international for Spain, back, plays every game for City. And the times he got last season to come on and show he could do a job, he didn't do a job. And that's where we are now. I mean, we've got 3 games now without... This is the first of 3 games without Rodri. Next one being... Well, we've got Wolves, then we've got Arsenal. And...
massive, that one.
Yeah.
Massive game.
Absolutely. Is that one away? Is that one down?
Yeah, it's away.
Emirates?
Both of them are. We've got six of our next 7 games are away. Next home game is Brighton 21st. Yeah, our next in all comps. So our next home game's on the 21st of October against Brighton. Literally a month away. I was on the way back from Manchester on Sunday from the game, and I was looking at my phone thinking, when am I next up here? I thought, for a month.
Oh, God.
Which is kind of, to a certain extent, it's quite nice to have a break from the expense of having to travel to Manchester every 7 days. But
yeah, that's true. Are you getting many away games in?
I've been to West Ham so far. Did Athens for the Super Cup. I think I'm doing Arsenal. I'm not doing Wolves because I've got to spend some time with my daughter.
Yeah.
Keep every weekend for the last couple of weekends I've been like, do you know what? Mum, can you look after Kia? And I was like, I can't. I got offered a ticket for the Wolves game, but I said no, I can't take it. I need to spend some time with my daughter. So and then I've run out of holiday with all the European games last year.
It's all right. There was a long ball played by Ortega. It looked like at that point, Alvarez or Grealish were in, but Lascelles managed to get back in and get to the ball first. But the game is becoming slightly stretched in that midfield area. I have to say, and
God, that did look close, didn't it? Yeah. I've just got to it. The ball seemed to hang in the air for a little longer than I thought.
Definitely. Ryan D, no, not too many brandies. I'm on my first currently. Just enjoying the ride, enjoying the game. If you haven't clicked the like and subscribe, make sure you do. If you haven't already, come and join the channel. And of course, never a foul. Daps and the boys, give those guys a sub as well. Just hit 7K, and we're on the way to 7 as it stands. So yeah, make sure you hit that in. Just while you're in the chat, pop some questions in. Pop some questions, Man City related. Pop some questions in Newcastle related, and we'll throw them to Daps and Keith.
I've got one for you, actually. Who's your next Champions League game against?
PSG.
It's at home. At home.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. We've played PSG quite a few times in the Champions League.
Oh, it's a good tackle. The ball gets played in. Looks like Grealish could be in on goal. Dummett gets back and does his classic slide tackle, and nicks the ball back to Pope. Referee says he got the ball, which he in the replay it shows that he does. He gets the ball. But we are playing a little bit dangerously at the back here at the moment.
The edge, yeah.
Yeah, and this is what we thought, Keith, wasn't it? With playing the likes of Dummett in this game, and it was a good tackle from him. But
do you know what I like that?
First choice.
Do you know what I like that? Grealish didn't make a song and dance out of it as well. To be fair, he just got up and walked off.
Yeah, I agree with you. Craigley's put a question in. Daps, what's your thoughts on Anthony Gordon?
What, as a player? Right. So I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was really anti Anthony Gordon when he moved to you, because for me, he's an Everton boy. Everton were fighting relegation, and he left. And for me, if you know, Foden's a City boy. If we were facing relegation and Foden jumped off in January, I'd be like, you know what, just see it through to June, then go. Don't go when the ship might be sinking. So I was really anti him. And I must admit, I said it surprises me a bit, because I think that, and by the way, I might be wrong on this. I could be totally wrong on this, but just the way at the time I saw it was, you know, you've left your childhood club to fight relegation.
Yeah, he's not an Everton fan. He's not an Everton fan. He's a Liverpool fan.
Well, there you go then. I'm wrong. That's probably why he left.
A lot of people don't know it.
Real.
That's the thing. Yeah, a lot of people don't know it. He came through Everton's youth ranks as a young age, but he never supported.
So he's like the opposite of Carragher then, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. That's
why. Right. That's now. But what I was going to go on to say was, then I've watched him for you this season, and I've actually grown to quite like him. I think he's quite a player. Same with Harvey Barnes. Mo, who I run never a foul with, is a.
Oh, that ball's gone off. Surely that went out. Oh, okay. Sorry, that's 1 second. The ball. I think it's Rico Lewis down the right hand side. Works it to the line, the goal line, and he goes to clip the ball back into the box, but it looked like it had gone way off. But the referees played on. It didn't come to anything. The ball gets cleared, and Man City have got the ball on the halfway line. But you might see it in just a second.
Yeah, I've just seen it now.
It looked like it had gone out of play to me.
Mo, who I run never a foul with, he is a massive, and for quite some time, massive Harvey Barnes fan, right? And he was over for the World Cup because he lives in America. He came over and stayed with me for the World Cup so we could do coverage of it. And then when he went back to, just before he went back, so when the World Cup ended, I think one of the first games was Leicester v MK Dons in the Carabao Cup, I think it was. And Milton Keynes is like 20 minutes away from me. So I was like, do you know what? While you're in England, let's go. Let's get to one game because the World Cup's been on. Let's go to that. Went there. And as we were walking to the stadium, he was saying to me, Harvey Barnes will get a move in the next 2 years to a top 4 Premier League side. And I was going, all right, then. So you're telling me Harvey Barnes starts 4. And I go, is he starting for City? And I listed 4. I think I've probably said City, Liverpool, Arsenal and Man United at the time, right? And then he had a really bad game, by the way. The whole of Leicester had a really, really bad game. And after that, he looked at me and goes, yeah, maybe he's not as good as I thought. And then when he got the move to Newcastle, the first thing he said to me was, I told you he would get a move to a top 4 side in the next 2 years. I'm like, yeah, you're right. Newcastle are a top 4 side now. Oh.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we based on last season, definitely we are. But the key to us, and it'd be interesting to see what you think, Keith, on this. Is that the key for us is that we've got to maintain playing at the top end of the Premier League. So for me, we have to get some form of European football at the end of this season to maintain the growth that we have. I don't think any Newcastle fans expecting Champions League football would obviously take it, but there's
what, next season?
Yeah, the end of this season.
Really? What, you don't think you get?
No, we're not expecting it. We'll take it, and I'm sure we'll compete for it. But I don't think there's an expectation for Newcastle fans that we get Champions League football this season. Would you agree with that, Keith?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're ahead of schedule, to be honest. So, I think I remember saying if Newcastle could actually break in the top 7 last year, it would be a really good season. They did more than that. Obviously, they got it in the Champions League, and there were times where they could have been third and finished third. But looking at the improvements and taking into account that Spurs had a nightmare season last year, Liverpool had a bad season last year, and Chelsea had a nightmare last year, we expected those teams to improve. And plus, Brighton are kicking on as well. It's almost like it's a bottleneck to try and get into that top 7, top 6 this season, and manage that with the challenges of being in Europe as well in the Champions League. It's a big ask almost. It's almost like if Newcastle fans were told, you're going to finish top 8 last season, you're going to finish 6th this season, they would have taken that as well.
Sorry, Keith. Alvarez, the lovely play. Man City are well on top, no doubt about it. Yeah. Lovely play. Ball gets slipped in to Alvarez down the Man City's left-hand side. And yeah, I think is it Oscar Bob, with a nice little playthrough. And Alvarez, he is at a tight angle. He tries to smash it into the far corner, but he actually whips round and goes out for a throw-in.
Yeah.
It's a good effort. But look, guys and girls in the chat, lads and lasses, put your comments in. Some of you have put your comments in already. Ryan D saying it is disappointing start. To this game, we did expect it to be a little bit better. Chantel's put, what do you guys think of Tonali in this game? We're not seeing much of him.
I was thinking that. I was thinking he's the type of person that at the moment you probably want to see in these games step up, especially with the other midfielders you've got round him. He's the one that you want to step up and really grab the game, grab the midfield by the do you know, I'm sorry, I just was on that Champions League thing. So I 100% agree you were ahead of the curve last season. 1,000,000%. Like you that wasn't expected. And I think even with the signings you made last season, in the summer, you haven't gone all out. You didn't go and throw millions and millions at it. But I think look, if Newcastle fans aren't expecting it, that's a really good place to be for the Newcastle fans at the moment. Really, really good. But I do still think you're very, very, because it could be 5, couldn't it? It could be 4, could be 5 Champions League positions. I think if it's 5, I think you should be in it. I still think if it's 4, for me, I'm probably still having you over across the season. I'm still having you over Man United and Tottenham.
Don't say that. Kaz will have you for it. But I
Oh,
agree
do you
with you.
think Paul?
I
He
agree
has
with
me.
you.
I honestly think it. I really do.
The thing is about United. The thing is about United is they've had bad starts over the last few years, haven't they? And they've always still found a way to get into that top 4, top 3. I mean, you remember a few years ago with Solskjaer when they were calling for his head, and I think they finished 3rd that year, and that was the COVID season. And then the following season, they finished 2nd. So,
yeah, but the season that they finished 2020? Yeah, 2021 was when they finished 2nd. Yeah, that was it. I don't know. See, I still think Newcastle will make some good signings in January again. And this is
lovely.
I think this is.
Sorry, I've got to be honest. Alvarez is having a lot of joy in finding little pockets.
Been one of our best players this season, if not our best player this season.
He looks really good. Daps. I'm not going to lie. He created a little moment, but it was well defended. And Livramento has brought the ball out, and he's took on 2-3 men. And one is a free kick, probably about 30 yards out far on the right hand side. But it was just really nice play from Livramento because, again, another player that's come in.
Yeah,
his first start for Newcastle, and he to be fair, I think he settled into the game quite well. It has to be said. But you've got Craig Lee's put a few comments on here. Top 6 with our first season back in Europe would be an excellent season. Top 4 would be unreal. He's put didn't do a Chelsea. Didn't
do it. Do you know? No, I know what he's referring to. I had this conversation with somebody the other day, right? And it's like, right, if you look at the 3 clubs that I guess people will say are similar models as far as big investor, right?
Yeah.
Although the truth is, most clubs have big investors, right? But the ones that they're going to go for is Chelsea, City, Newcastle, right? And I think it's safe to say that what we've done is we've followed a similar.
Big corner come in from I think it was from Gomez who took the corner.
Yeah,
whipped the ball right into the back post. Gavardio is up, big header. And it comes off a Newcastle player. I think it's Dummett. Dummett's up to try and challenge him. He heads it onto the back of Dummett, and it's out for another corner. I think on the far
great
side.
Corner from Gomez. That
great corner. Greenish is just about to take the second corner from the other end of the pitch. That ball's come in. He's lofted that high up in the air, cleared by Jamal Lascelles. Again to Pope. Pope's collected. But yeah, just the pressure. There's pressure there from Man City. Newcastle haven't had a chance on goal yet. Haven't been into their area for quite a while. It's not the start, I've got to be honest, that we expected from Newcastle. But the fact that we're 33 minutes in and it's still 0-0 fills me with a little bit of confidence that there is something still to come. But with Man City and their strength, who knows? Sorry, Daps. Carry on.
No. So what I was going to say about that is that ultimately we've all learned from each other's project, right? It's like we definitely will have learned from Chelsea and adapted, and then you've learned from us and adapted. And I'd say that if you look at the Chelsea model from the get-go, it was massive manager, huge names. From the get-go. And if you actually look at it, it really was that. They brought in Jose Mourinho, and then if you go through some of the players they were bringing in back in the day, and it's unreal. If you ever look through some of the names of the players that Chelsea have had over the last, and you know what, you could say the same with City, but it's volumes and volumes and volumes of huge names from the start. City was watered down.
Yeah,
Newcastle's even more so. And if you look at at Chelsea, you'll probably go through. There'll be more big names that flopped. At City, slightly less big names that flopped. And at Newcastle, it's one stage down. It's just more like, you know what? This is a process. This is not a win it overnight.
Yeah, I agree.
And with the manager, I mean, you could say we tried it with Hughes for a bit, didn't quite work. Then we went and got another. Eddie Howe, you guys, and we'll see. We'll see whether they stick with him or not. I think Eddie Howe, the key, I'd say, with where you lot are as a club, is that Eddie Howe's relationship with the board is far better than Hughes's relationship with the board was.
No, I think that is more than a fair point. I mean, to be fair, I think most City fans never thought that Hughes would be a long-term manager at the club. Eddie Howe was brought to be the long-term manager. But Ryan D makes a good point. Newcastle haven't been allowed to have the Man City, Chelsea investment in the team due to FFP, which is what Daps referred to. That kind of watered down, that dilution of what we're able to do.
You're being a lot smarter and wiser with your money. You are, and do you know what? If you actually look at City, you've got to remember that City's ownership under the Sheikh Mansour has two phases. The first phase was the Gary Cook phase, who that was Mancini and I think it changed. No, it's Mancini. It was just so basically they came in just before Pellegrini, so that's why they came in. So it's Gary Cook, and then there's the ex-Barca lot, or Tixi, and all of those lot. They came in just before Pellegrini. It was them that got rid of Mancini, and then brought in Pellegrini as a stopgap because they knew, the whole thing was, I think probably back then was either, I think all City fans back then thought they'd been brought in to get Messi, right? I think actually in hindsight, they're brought in to get Pep. That's what they're brought in. And ultimately the whole philosophy of Barcelona in its good days was brought over here, but with smarter businessmen. That's the difference. It's
Barcelona without the madness, wasn't it? Really.
Yeah. It's exactly that. It's Barcelona's philosophy on football, but then with shrewd businessmen around them.
Yeah.
And that's what Khaldoon is, just an absolute monster of a chairman. And this is what I always say to United, to Chelsea at the moment, is for the club to work, it has to work right from top to bottom. If it's not, the manager has to take his instructions from somebody, right? Even the sports director has to take their instructions from somebody. And do you know, if you look at Brighton is a perfect example of that. Brighton have had managers, lost managers, they bring in better managers. Brighton have had good players, lost players, brought in better players. Brighton have had good scouting teams, lost them, got new ones, right? And the one thing is the man at the top that's hiring everyone. The person at the top of Brighton is so switched on that whether it be players, managers, or backroom staff, they always get it on point because the person up there who's hiring has a standard, right? And that's what it is. It's not friendships. It's not, this guy's my mate, or this guy's an ex-player, or it's standards and getting the best. And I think that's something I do think Newcastle are doing as well, 100%.
This guy, apparently, he says that's who you got in whilst Mancini is charged.
Him, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Great stuff. Chris is in the chat. One of our loaded guys. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a good evening. Successful passes in the opposition's final third. Newcastle 1, Man City 81. And to be fair, it's just had shots at goal, shots on target. And another stat, I can't remember which one it was, and it was like 5 to Man City, 1 on target to Man City, something in the opposition's box. I think it was 8, and it was all zeros for Newcastle, which is
all zeros in the possession as well. 70% to Man City, 30% to Newcastle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I think I'd say it is at the moment? We touched on it earlier that we've both rotated. You've rotated a little more than us, but even with our rotations, you're looking at City players that have played with each other before, and you're looking at a system that at very least, you'd say this system is, I mean, you could actually say this is a second season playing this system, but ultimately it's about 5th or 6th season playing this system, and that it's just a fine-tuned machine now that you can put different players in it and they kind of know what their role is. Whereas this is, a lot of these Newcastle players, like I said earlier, they've probably never played with each other before.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I've got to be honest, Keith, you're watching it as well. It looks like some of these haven't played with each other before. It looks all over the place. We're giving the ball away time and time again.
And-
Just as I say that, Murphy's in on goal. Oh, it's a great save. Oh wow.
I don't like doing this, me.
He's in on goal. He's bearing down on goal. It's 1-on-1. It came from.
Oh, that was poor. Hold on.
Yeah.
Who was that? Oh, no. Hold on. So we've won the ball back.
It's a great save. Oh, Murphy. He's got to put that away. He has to put
Poor
that
defending
away.
as well, to be fair.
Yeah. It's a good save with his right foot. Just tips it away for a corner. He's got to put that away. It's 1-on-1, man. Oh,
but he's not a striker, is he, Pete? He's not a striker, though, is he?
He's not. He's not. It's brilliant.
Barnes would have put that away, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
Don't you think he looks like that comedian? By the way,
which one?
Who me? How's it going, everybody?
Hello, you right? No,
yes.
It was Murphy, wasn't it, that took the shot?
Yeah, Murphy.
Yeah. You know the comedian that does all the like songs, like during lockdown, he did like 7 days and stuff. What's his name?
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm going to find him now. Whenever I see his face.
Find it, and let us know. Daz is in the house, everyone. Daz.
Hey, everyone, how's it going?
How you doing, fella? Have you been catching the game so far?
No, I've only saw the last 5 minutes, Pete. Just getting the little fella to bed and setting up, and then did my internet. Hopefully, you can hear me right, because the internet is pretty shit today with the kind of storm going. It's died down a bit now, but it's still not great weather-wise. But what's Dummett is on the pitch here? What's going on?
I know, Daz. I know, I'm not gonna lie. Oscar Bob was just in there. Nice little one-touch football there for Man City. Worked the ball in. Oscar Bob. He looks a talented boy. He's a young lad. He looks real talented boy. He goes to play it across goal, and I think he just gets deflected out for a corner. It's a little nice flick there from Alvarez. They've got a good understanding already. And like you said, that formation, that understanding, that sort of tactical awareness, they're really kind of playing it in. But I know what you mean. I can't remember his name, but I see his stuff all the time.
Don't you think he looks like Murphy?
He does. He does a lot of stuff about the government. Some of his videos.
Yeah. The 7 days COVID one. Do you know Oscar Bob? Oscar Bob is one that, you know, right. So I remember early part of last season, him like really seeing his name about, and it's one of those names you're never going to forget. Oscar Bob, are you? What a name! And I thought the name sounded like a Brazilian name, Oscar Bob. You know, you get Brazilians with names like that, but he's Norwegian. But pre-season, we had a few youngers that were, you know, every season in the pre-season you have the youngers that are around the first team, and it was Oscar Bob was the one that in pre-season Pep said, you know, every season there's a younger that I really think, you know what, could have a big future at this club. And Foden was one, Cole Palmer was one, Rico Lewis was one. And he said this season Oscar Bob's the one that has impressed me so.
It's getting meaty, I'm not gonna lie. It's getting meaty.
What are we doing here?
Down the right hand side, whipped a ball in. A little bit too deep.
Nowhere.
It's gone out for a throw, but there was Newcastle putting themselves about there, broke up the play. Joe Linton's getting stuck in, Tonali's getting stuck in, works the ball out to Livramento. Livramento does what he does best. He gets the ball and runs direct down the wing, whips the ball in a little bit too deep. But hey, the signs of life here from Newcastle. Daz, you've come at a good time. Maybe you're the good omen here, because I tell you what, we've started playing a little bit since you popped onto the stream. Don't go anywhere.
I just logged on, Pete, when Murphy was taking his shot. So I was like, no, that'd be perfect time. And I was about to jump on screen, but I'd hang back. Lewis Hall playing a kind of a Gareth Bale type role there for a while. He was kind of up front.
He's in the midfield three. He's playing in the midfield three on the left. So he's on the left. Lewis Miley's in the middle. And Tonali, to be fair, saying that, you look at where they're positioned now, Tonali's almost playing as the 6, but they sort of maybe interchanging a little bit. But it's last 5-10 minutes has been a bit of sign of life. I'm not going to lie. And this is more positive from Newcastle. And we need to be this way. We need to come out and really kind of get in Man City's faces. Man City have had all the ball. They've held all the exchanges. They've not had to work hard for it. And they've created a few moments already. We need to make sure that we're.
Do you know what you need to do? Do you know what? And we just saw how that attack a minute ago came. When Manchester City don't have Rodri on the pitch, and this just that moment just then reminded me of the Southampton game last season. When we haven't got Rodri in the pitch, when we've got someone like Calvin Phillips playing the holding role, you really have to press City. The minute we get the ball in that area where you won the ball back, press us. That's how you. When look, I get it. When Rodri is there, it's a difficult one to do. Or do we press him? Don't we press him? Because he's so press resistant that if you attempt to press him in that position, he'll pop a pass out and that'll be it. He's bypassed your midfield and City run. But when Calvin Phillips is there, and to be fair, earlier in the game, Calvin Phillips from that position played a really good pass, but he's not as press resistant as he's nowhere near as press resistant as Rodri. If you press him in that area, you can counter very, very quickly high up the pitch. And that's exactly what happened there. You guys were just on us. If you get on this midfield without Rodri, without De Bruyne, without Gundogan, this is a new midfield that at City. That's where if you're going to have any luck against City for me, half time now, it's going to be there. Right. Listen, I'm going to leave you boys to come up with a master plan for the second half. I'm just going to go and put my little one to bed.
No worries. I knew you had to drop off. We'll catch you in a minute, Daps. We'll just pop you off for a second, then we'll bring you straight back on when you're back. But yes, it is half time, 0-0. Oh, for all of the battering that we got, Keith and Daz, we had probably the best chance of the game. Could have nicked it.
The Murphy
hit them with the sucker
punch.
Hit them on the sucker punch, on the counter.
So close.
We're not used to this from Ho. We're really this sort of style of play, really absorbing, and we're used to the high press, aren't we? So this is sort of throwing Wall off tonight.
They have the big hitters on the bench, though, don't they? I suppose we do as well, but they have. Let me see. Can't see the glasses. That defeats the purpose of glasses. They have Holland, Foden on the bench. They could come on and do damage later on. So, who do we have? We have Gordon, Bruno, Miggy, maybe.
Yeah. If you look at your attacking lineup, maybe Elliot Anderson from an attacking point of view, that's who we've got to come on to really kind of affect the game. Are you boys, like Daz, I'll start with you. Are you really surprised that Wilson's not in the squad at all for the game today?
I am, because that's what I'm looking at now. It's the first time looking at it. But same time he played the full game, didn't he? He's come on towards the end and got his goal. But Wilson can only play one game a week, so you can guarantee he's going to start then against Burnley. I think he just probably that's a deliberate call and not put on. It's not a case of an injury risk or anything. It's just he knows he can only play one game a week, and that's fine. If we can get one game a week out of him, the way he's performing for us, that's the way to go. I wouldn't try and risk him then. And Isak needed a start as well, to try and get something here, build on what he did towards the end of the Sheffield United game.
I agree, Keith. Similar question, really. From your perspective, Sven Botman's not in the squad. He's such an influential player. Are you okay with the fact that he's not played him today? He's not put him in the squad and giving him a bit of a rest.
Yeah, I must admit, joining the calls, joining the show at the beginning there. When I seen that lineup, it did sort of throw me off, particularly in that there was so many changes, particularly in the back four. But maybe there's a bit of game management that's coming in again as well, in terms of managing the resources as well with Botman at the back. Botman only just coming back recently from an injury as well, that he picked up against, the Liverpool game. Maybe Howe's got that in the back of his mind, thinking, right, he's had a game against, he's played against Brentford, he's played against AC Milan, he's played against Sheffield United. There's 3 games in a short space of time here. That might be coming into Howe's thinking as well. He doesn't want to pick, especially with what's happened with Barnes. He probably doesn't want to pick up any more injuries in a game, really, which in your own mind you would be thinking, right, if we lose tonight, it's not the end of the world, sort of thing, against Man City. Who you be expecting it?
Yeah.
No.
You're right, Keith. Like, look, it'd be nice to win and go into the next round and hopefully get a nice draw as well. But it's not the end of the world. If you have to lose something, this is the one you want to lose.
Yeah, I think most Newcastle fans, I said it on LB's channel last night, that most Newcastle fans would prioritise the FA Cup ahead of the Carabao Cup. It's later on in the season.
Yeah,
we would have had our 6 games in the Champions League by then. So if, say, for example, we go out of the Champions League or go into the Europa League or even get through, we can focus on the first 3 rounds of the FA Cup and really give it a go and see where we land. Then you've got the Champions League or the Europa League, whatever, that falls back in. And then you can have a look at it there. If we're out of Europe, we can really give the FA Cup a go. And look, hopefully we don't get a draw like this where we get the treble winners in the first round in round 3.
Yeah, Arsenal 3rd round away at the Emirates. Jeez. We've had enough of them. We've had enough of them in the Ashley era, didn't we? Really.
If it weren't Arsenal, it was Chelsea. If it weren't Chelsea, it was Brighton away. Like, Jesus Christ, how many times do we get the same clubs over and over? You know what we need? I'll tell you what we need. We need a Bruce FA Cup run. When we had like the likes of Oxford and we had a couple of others, at St James's Park. I think we might have had Watford being one of them or someone like that. Where he ended up getting us to the sort of I think he got us to the quarterfinals, didn't he, during that COVID season?
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't until we played City, I think, in the quarter.
Again, yeah, we got City in that. Yeah, we were getting excited, and then we got City again. Yeah. I remember that. But I suppose looking at the squad we have out, like there's guys there that needed game time and needed minutes. Like for them to have some kind of impact on the more important games as well, if there needed to be called for, like Livramento, Target, even Lascelles. Like if we got an injury, it's no good then. Just throwing him into it, then he needs to be kind of match sharp, have some match sharpness as well. I'm not even going to say Dummett because Dummett isn't playing no matter what happens. Let me see Miley as well, just to see how we to throw him into this house. How's he getting on actually? What's your thoughts on him in the first half?
I'll be honest with you, from my perspective, I don't know if you agree, Keith. I think for long parts, up until you probably come on the stream, Daz, is that the midfield was very much getting overran.
Absolutely. It took a while to get into it, didn't it, really? And a line.
They were very tight. So the midfield 3, so Hall, Tonali, and Lewis Miley, they were very tight in terms of that midfield 3. They were sticking close together, but the little passages of play, the little one-touch passes in and behind, it was kind of like, so I'll bring it up because we've got the tactics board up here anyway. So like, so I had, hold on 1 second, let me get rid of that because that's the wrong one. Let's come out of that. So Lewis Miley, I think Tonali was probably playing more here than anything else, but with these guys, they were pushing right up, and you had these guys so tight in midfield. But it's the little runs of Grealish in this little space here. Alvarez was coming out here. You had the likes of Oscar Bob coming into this area, Kovacic into this area here. So these are having to stay really, really tight. So there was just little passes that were coming into these little areas, popping into these spaces. You had Alvarez coming into here, popping into these areas here, and they were really hard to pick up. And you could tell, and Keith, I know you said the same, is that you could really tell, Daz, that the midfield 3 hadn't played together. There wasn't that kind of understanding there.
Yeah, the synergy wasn't there, was it, really?
No, not at all. And this is where it's going to get interesting. And it was almost kind of like this. So the first half was kind of like this, and you had maybe sort of like even Joe Linton coming in to kind of create a fall, because it was very much they were pushing us back. and we were kind of being pushed back onto our own sort of 18-yard box, and they were really pressing us in with like moving the ball down the right and left hand side. Oscar Bob was really kind of dictating the play, and these little 1-2s, like I think for Oscar Bob, he had a little 1-2 into this area, tried to pop the ball back into here, but then it was cleared by Lascelles in this area here. So they were getting a lot of joy, and then all of a sudden we start to push up. So we're pushing them back into that position, and that was kind of where at that point, Daz, when you kind of came onto the stream, because we then started to push them back, and you started to find our midfield in these sorts of positions and pushing Kovacic really tight and pushing Calvin Phillips. I think it might have been the other side actually, so it might have been a bit more like this at the time. So you've got like Joe Linton coming in tight, and we're pushing them in this position, and that's exactly what Dap said. He said, get into them, get stuck in, get tight, and get into those positions. And then it's almost playing like this at times. So the midfield are doing a sort of a job as a 4, and then they're looking to Isaac and Murphy to make these long runs in kind of deep areas to try and cause problems. And we nearly scored off the back of it. But what do you think, Keith? Would you agree with that? Have you got any other sort of opinions on that and how it's kind of worked out so far this half?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. It took until about the 35 minutes, it seems, for Newcastle to get going. Really, there was certainly a quiet opening where both sides were feeling each other out. And then within 10 minutes, City started to carve, I would say, and started to stretch the game a little bit. Newcastle, really, at that point, fortunate not to be a goal down with 1 or 2 of the chances that came up, certainly with Grealish and Alvarez, that they were creating. I think if Murphy had stuck that ball away, had it have fallen to Isaac, and Isaac had stuck the ball away, it would have been wonderful. But again, you would have to say Newcastle would have been fortunate, and it would have been against the run of play completely, with I think about 6 clear-cut chances or 6 shots through that City had in that first half.
I would agree with that. I think there's room for improvement. Shooting at the Gallagate, so Gallagate end, that's the end that we want to be going at down the hill. We've got an opportunity. I do worry. I think you mentioned it, Daz. You might have mentioned it as well, Keith, that the players they've got on the bench, you do worry that if we start to get ahead of steam here, that they might just go, what,
it's the old adage problem, isn't it? It's the adage problem that we're building to and that we want the side to build to, but really it's these sort of games and your games against your top 4s, your best clubs. They've just got a stronger squad, haven't they? Really, they've got players who can come on, whereas if you look at what we've still got to bring on, I suppose it's a bit in reverse this side, but we haven't got the depth on the bench yet that these sides have. But go 20-25 minutes in, if it's still the same scoreline, maybe there's a chance for Newcastle to push on, maybe with a chance with Isaac late in the game.
Yeah, and being at home as well might play. What's the story here? Does it go to extra time and then penalties, or straight to penalties on 90?
Straight pens. Nice. So straight to penalties after 90 minutes. So yeah, that'll be interesting as well. I think depending on how the game pans out in the first sort of 15-20 minutes of the second half, you'll probably start to get an idea of what teams are looking for. If Newcastle are really pushing and maybe 1-0 up, Man City might try and push to nick a goal to take it to pens. Or if Newcastle are under the cosh massively, and I'm just watching here, Bruno and Anthony Gordon are warming up for the second half, so maybe we'll get that little injection of quality in the second half, which I think will be massively needed. But I just wanted to run through some of the scores in the other rounds. Aston Villa 0, Everton 2. And I'm not going to lie, I'm looking at Aston Villa's team, and they've got Leon Bailey playing. He's been subbed off now. Tillemans, Moussa Diaby, Douglas Luiz, Pau Torres, John McGinn, Like they've
Cash,
they've got pretty much close to a full strength side there. And they're losing 2-0. James Garner, who's a good player, by the way. He had a good loan spell at Forest, and then he's gone to Everton, and he's a good player. Shame he's gone to Everton. But Blackburn are beating Cardiff 4-2. Bournemouth are beating Stoke 2-0. Brentford 0, Arsenal 1. That's 57 minutes in. Chelsea 1, Brighton 0. They may finally get their win, but it's in the cup. Fulham 1, Norwich 0. 0-0 between Lincoln City and West Ham. And Liverpool have equalised, so it's now 1-1 against Leicester at Anfield. Cody Gakpo got the equaliser after McAteer scored after 3 minutes for Leicester, put them 1-0 up. And of course, the game at St James's Park is 0-0. The other games are all way into the second half, 50, 60 minutes in. We were the late kickoff, and looks like Gordon's coming straight on, and Bruno. They're both stripped and ready to go as the players come out for the second half. Interesting to see who they come off for. May well be Lewis Miley and Lewis Hall, potentially. Livramento's on the pitch. I can see him there, but be interested to see who they're subbed on for. But clearly, they're going with a little bit of strength in the second half and going for it. So, boys, what do you make of that?
Yeah, I just want to see who they come on for now, Pete. While we're trying to figure that out,
Ryan D seems to think it's and I'll just bring Daps into this. So Daps, we've got Gordon and Bruno coming on second half. They were stripped and ready to go. Ryan D seems to think that Miley's coming off. So that'll be interesting. Minnesota Mags, great to have you on. It says get Gordon on for target. That'll be interesting.
Gordon I think Gordon's one that I'd bring on. This second half,
he's definitely coming on. We just don't.
You need to. Do you know even if you go back to the Premier League game against us, right?
Yeah.
You lot just in the Premier League, I felt like you lot forgot to attack us.
Yeah.
That's the way it seemed to me, that Pep kind of seemed to. And you got at that point when we played you in the Premier League.
Miley and Hall. Sorry, Daps. Right. Miley and Hall coming off.
Yeah, so probably it'll replace Hall, won't it?
So Gordon's come on for Hall.
Yeah.
So
I think they'll be telling him to get at City. But yeah, that game when we played you in the league, we I think it was like 2.5 days after the Super Cup, because I just got back from Athens on the late Thursday night, and then had to get a train up on the Saturday morning to Manchester. And I was like, I'm tired, and I haven't played football. So some of these players, and we had a few injuries, and I think Pep just kind of, he seemed to occupy Eddie Howe's, he occupied your minds. The way we played, Walker played this really first half. He played in an advanced position on the right, but didn't really go forward. He was just there. And it's almost in that game, Newcastle forgot to attack, right? And forgot how good they are at attacking. And I think the second half, if I'm Newcastle, I'm going, let's get at them. Because that first half, you didn't get us enough. You didn't get us enough. And when you did, you looked threatening. I'm happy with that me as a City fan's point of view, I'm very happy with that first half performance. With the rotations and whatever else, I'm happy, especially being at St James's Park. I guess none of you can hear what it's like there either, can you?
No, I've got the sound down because we'd get into trouble, wouldn't we?
I'm interested to know what the atmosphere there's like.
Isak wins the boards, tries to slide through Tonali, and it gets blocked. And now Man City are on the break, and it's Kovacic. Plays it out to Grealish on Man City's left, Newcastle's right. Cuts inside. Well doubled up by Tonali. And there's a wild shot from deep from
Phillips.
Calvin Phillips, and it was way over. and there's huge cheers. I can hear that.
Right.
That's one thing I can definitely hear is the cheers from the Newcastle fans, and it sails well over the bar. But look, Daps, what are you looking to see from Man City second half? We talked about it during half time, and I think Daz was saying about as he was looking through the bench for Man City. Do you think if it gets to sort of like 60 minutes and it's still this score that Man City are going to go, right, we'll bring on the big guns to kind of end the game? What are your thoughts?
Nah, I don't think we will, you know. Let me have a quick look at the bench. I don't think we will. This goes back to... Let me have a look at the bench. I don't...
Just as you're looking, Tonali's just released Murphy into Livramento. Livramento into Tonali. I think it gets a deflection out for a throw-in, but he gets the ball just past the penalty spot. And Murphy's got the ball again. Murphy plays it back to Bruno. Bruno's played it back to Jamal Lascelles, and we're keeping the ball across the line. Seems more of an attacking threat this half. Gordon's on the ball now. Much better. A nice little flick from Joe Linton. We're moving the ball around nicely.
Nice triangles, Pete.
Those triangles are coming to fruition, I'm not going to lie. Murphy just releases Isak, but he's been chased by Kanji. Oh, Isak wins the ball back. He approaches into the area. Plays into it's Livramento, but the pass is poor. But Lascelles comes in with a monster tackle and back to Bruno. Bruno whips it in on the left. Oh, just a bit too high for Joe Linton, but the crowd, I can hear the crowd.
See what
now.
Two changes. Just bringing Bruno on. Now. Just bringing Bruno on.
So everyone.
Give you that control in midfield a bit, and Gordon obviously to give you. Do you know if I was City, I'd probably bring on Doku, but I'd probably wait until about the 65th. Bring on Doku, and I'd bring on Nunes.
Yeah.
Maybe Foden as well. Maybe Foden at some point as well. But for me, what I want to see this half is the same as in the first half. I want to see Calvin Phillips, not have. Do you know what? I'm going to even go as far as not to say not have a bad game. That's what I want to see. I want to see Calvin Phillips come on and look like he can offer us something. He can, and do you know what? This second half, now you've got Bruno on the pitch. Now you've still got,
brilliant stuff.
Well done, Gordon.
Brilliant stuff. So Gordon just runs 60 yards, chasing the ball down. It was a bad touch to begin with, but Man City get the ball back, but he chases 30, 40, maybe even 60 yards.
To win the ball back.
That's
what you want to see. That's what you want to see. That is all you want to see. Now. Yes.
Yeah.
Do you know that? And that's the thing already. I can say with Doku, right? We love Leroy Sané at City, love him, right? But the one thing with Leroy Sané was maybe sometimes his work rate could be questioned. Doku's come in and he looks like he's got the flair of Leroy Sané, but he also looks like he wants to work hard for Pep. Yeah. And as fans, that's all you want to see is a player that, especially with wingers that will get back and put a shift in. It lifts up. That can win you games because it lifts the whole crowd.
Definitely,
it's a good mix. Sané was brilliant for City in his day.
Yeah,
he was. And I'm not going to lie, I've watched a little bit more of him this season now that Kane's over there, and Sané looks to be absolutely smashing it.
Yeah,
he's smashing it over there. As about 40, 50 yards out, Isak's got the ball central. Plays it to Tonali. Tonali plays it back to Isak, but it's too...
Yeah, you lot are pressing us a lot better now.
The pass wasn't right. Tonali's final ball hasn't been there. He's got all the work rate in endeavour, but his final pass just hasn't really kind of ticked the box tonight. I have to say, but the levels have definitely come up just from when you come on the stream, Daz. Like it does. You've noticed a difference, haven't you, mate?
I've been the difference, right, Pete, in this game. I'm
Don't go anywhere, Daz. Don't go anywhere.
Well, if my internet says the same, I should be okay.
Yeah. Who's your internet provider?
Well, I'm in Ireland, and I'm in the west coast of Ireland, out in the countryside. So it's line of sight broadband. It's called Imagine Broadband.
Hold on.
You'll have never heard of it.
Hello, Paddy. Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
Take the internet down now.
Oh,
here we go.
Hey, up. Joe Linton. Joe! Think that! Goal! Alexander Isak!
Hello, Paddy.
You want me to
Don't
do
you
this?
answer,
Yeah.
Paddy?
Yeah. Paddy.
Oh,
Fucking Paddy. I haven't seen it yet. Fuck's sake.
Oh,
I'm paying you
brilliant
double this
work.
week, Paddy.
Daz, this is going to be a hashtag. Do not go anywhere. Stay with us because you have helped us turn the tide. A great ball into Murphy. Murphy is nice, swift turn. Joe Linton works the ball into the box on the right-hand side, plays it across goal. Oh, Rico Lewis kind of steps over the ball thinking it's going away. And Isak's just there and he takes a touch and slots it home. What a goal.
Oh,
Brilliant
good turn.
play.
That was a great turn to start off.
It was.
That was Foden-esque. That was
It's a
What an
lovely little
advertisement
bit of
for
oh, I need to
what
see
an
that
advertisement
again.
for Imagine Broadband as well.
yeah. But Isak slots it home, boys, and this is what we wanted. We wanted a reaction. We got a reaction, and we've not just got a reaction, we've got a goal. And that's what matters. And it's got the fans going absolutely mental. It's a great start to the second half. 53 minutes in, Newcastle 1-0 up. Alexander Isak, another goal. Isak and Callum Wilson now on 4 goals apiece for the season. In all competitions, which is fantastic.
You know what's happening now, though?
That was poor from Rico. That was poor from Rico Lewis.
It was. He assumed that the ball was going out of play, and just.
No, I don't know if he was. You know, I think he's. No, I don't think he was. I think his footing was just all over the gaff.
Right.
I think he's.
Joe Linton's just smashed Rico Lewis, and it went out for a throw-in, and it got the fans up and running again, which is what a few Man City fans talked about. Rico Lewis is a good technician of the ball, technically, but he's not strong. He's still a young lad.
He's still young. Still only.
And coming 18. Up against the likes of Gordon and Joe Linton just there. Joe Linton.
Saw that last season against Tottenham. Yeah. Against Tottenham at their gaff, Rico Lewis just looked that little bit. And even, do you know what, Arsenal in the FA Cup first half against Trossard, I think it was, just looked a little bit weak because he is, like you said, he's 18.
Definitely. And Keith's back in the house. Great to have you in, and we're 1-0 up. Come on.
Maybe I should take more breaks. Take more breaks.
Well, I do this at games. Do you know, we score a lot of our goals while we're in the while a lot of us are still in the concourse finishing our drinks or going there to get our drinks. And sometimes I do that. Everton at home last season, which was we dropped points on New Year's. Well, I think did we lose 1-0? I'm pretty certain we lost 1-0 on New Year's Eve, and in about the 80th minute, he's in again. He's in again. Oh, gets blocked and it's out for a corner. Win the ball back. The press is good at the moment. Man City have a throw in, play it into, of all people, Calvin Phillips. Bruno dispatches the ball into Isak. Isak. To be fair, it's good defending because they keep him at a real tight angle. There's nowhere really to go, but he tries to work the ball in. He goes out for a corner, and it's just about to be whipped in. I don't know by who. I think Sandro. You lot are really pressing. You lot are pressing us, and every time you press us, it's lifting the crowd.
It is the crowd. Look. My volume's low, but I can hear the crowd, which tells you a lot. Because in the first 30-odd minutes, I couldn't hear them at all. Nice little flick on from Gordon.
Would you consider bringing on Haaland and Foden now, Dabs? Is now the time to bring them on?
God, this is a really...
You don't want to risk them, do you? You don't want to risk them.
Look, I'm sorry, and I don't want this to come across as... Because it's a place I've never wanted my club to be at where we're going. It's only the Carabao. But it's the fact that if we get through this, we have to play the same day as the Super Cup. That it's ultimately...
It's just cut to Haaland, who's warming up at the moment.
It just seems... I mean, do you know what? I will say I hope Pep does, just to show that he's not going, you know what, we're going out of any game, and to show that, no, we're still trying to, do you know what I mean? I don't want City to be that club that's like, oh, no, we're not. But the truth is, if we're going to have to play the quarterfinal of the Carabao Cup on the same day as the Super Cup, then what's the point? This should and this should have been sorted out, by the way, a long time ago as well.
Ball in deep into the box by Livramento to Murphy, back out to Livramento again.
There's also a part of me, by the way, that is very much that we should win this to keep up. We should try and win this to keep up momentum.
Yeah, no, the momentum thing. The momentum is a thing.
Yeah,
definitely. But you guys are okay. You haven't lost a game all season. Yeah, I mean, you're in a great position. So I don't
we are. But you know what, bro? I don't want a night where I'm being irritated by stupid Arsenal fans that are all of a sudden going, "Ha, well, here we go. We're winning the league now because of this result." And and momentum is massive for me. Momentum is everything. So we want to just keep it ticking.
Yeah. Chris has said in the chat, this press is unreal, lads, and it is. We're talking about it, from a Newcastle perspective. Daz, Keith, like the pressing is so good this half. It's like polar opposites from what we saw in the first half.
So, and I was just going to say a minute ago, it could be one of two things. It could be that bringing on Bruno, bringing on Gordon, or it could be actually that Eddie Howe said, because to press Manchester City for 90 minutes, it's not easy. And maybe Eddie Howe said, first half, boys, let's calm second half, let's really go at them. And didn't I say that that's what you need to do? It's when it's not Rodri on the pitch, when it's Calvin Phillips on the pitch, that is you can press us more. We're less. We haven't got Calvin on the pitch. We haven't got Stones on the pitch. We haven't got a few of our more press-resistant players on the pitch. That's where I don't know if maybe I mean, Cover's very press-resistant. I don't know. I wouldn't. If I was Pep right now, I'd maybe even be looking at someone like Nunes and trying to get Nunes on the pitch. And I think he needs more game time as well. Because
I'm surprised he didn't start that.
Yeah, I thought he was going to start.
Yeah. I genuinely thought he was going to start.
But maybe that's because Pep knows we're going to need him against Wolves, because we haven't got Rodri. Like, Rodri's out for 3 games.
Oh.
Maybe that shows you. Yeah, he played. He's played 2 games. He played against Red Star, and then he played against Forest at the weekend. And I can imagine that potentially at the weekend we might go with a Kovacic-Nunes kind of pivot in midfield, maybe.
That'll be interesting.
We'll see, because this is, like I said, this is a big test for Calvin Phillips, and this second half, and this is what I wanted to see in the second half, that Calvin Phillips can stand up to a test.
Yeah. His successful passes in the final third in the second half, 20 for Newcastle, 6 for Man City. That's a huge turnaround from what we saw in the first half.
Yeah.
Where it was, it was like 81 for Man City, and it was 1 for Newcastle. So there's clearly, Eddie Howe has clearly put a rocket up them at half time, because there is a massive difference here. But I would say the last few minutes, Man City have started to get their foot on the ball again. We have possession. The ball is now sort of in the midway part of Newcastle's half. But what we didn't want is Neres going down, and he's holding his calf, which is not ideal at all. This is all part of the risk. So he's being checked out. I think the physio's on. Oh, for God's sake, Alexander Isak as well. What is going on, man?
Before that, you gave the ball away really weak as well, by the way.
Yeah.
I think this is a bit of gamesmanship here.
Do you think trying to slow the game down?
Yeah, we're kind of under a slight bit of pressure again. Just take the edge off.
Yeah, that would make sense,
Right. It looks like there's a change being made, and this is not good. This is not a good sign at all. Bruno,
I must be further behind this half, because now here we are. Yeah,
I don't know what it is.
Hold on, Bruno went in on the City player as well, didn't he?
I thought it was Joe Linton. Miggy Almiron's coming on.
Yeah, it's Linton. You're right. Sorry, it's Linton. Yeah, it was Linton on Rico Lewis. Yeah, sorry.
Miggy's coming on, but who for? So Isak's coming off. This is not a good sign.
Yeah, that is worrying. What is wrong with him?
Do you know, often that's the worst thing as well. You see the way he is. So the camera's currently on Isaac on my screen. When a player is not rolling about on the floor, where a player is just sat there.
He doesn't look injured.
No, and you know what, Daz?
What, you think he's just chilling and stretching?
No, he's come off now, and yeah, he's Dabs. I know you're a bit behind, but no, he's come off, and it looks no way injured coming off there. It looks like Eddie Howe's even explaining to him why he took him off.
Tactical substitution.
Yeah, tactical probably.
Yeah, but because normally when you've got an injury, you're down the tunnel straight away. Like you're down the tunnel.
Yeah, you are. Yeah,
and you're getting work on whatever your injury is.
Yeah.
Like he's not had any ice applied to him.
The weird bit is, why was he sitting on the floor for a bit?
Yeah.
Because you're right, he hasn't gone down the tunnel. I was going to say that maybe, and it is like he's explaining why he's brought him off.
Yeah.
Well, interestingly, Anthony Gordon is now playing up front, which is where he played for England under 21. So this is where the third striker, for Daz and Keith in particular, on the Full Loaded Transfer shows, this is where we had this conversation, because we had so many people in the chat saying, we need a third striker, we need another striker in. But, to be fair, we all said it. Chris in particular was saying, this is where Anthony Gordon played for the England under 21s. He played as a striker and they won the tournament with it. So is this the third striker option? It looks like it, because he's on the pitch. That's what you think about that.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. And yeah, it would have been lovely in the summer to bring in another striker as well, a young upcoming striker. What we will do next summer, but FFP didn't allow us to do that. So, but having Gordon as that option, it's good to have. It would have been nice, as we said at halftime, to have Wilson on the bench. But we know that what Eddie Howe's game plan is. I was saying that Wilson can only play one game a week, and trying to get him to do anything else is just too risky with his injury record. So that's what this is the option we're stuck with. It may pay off yet, though.
Definitely.
See what, Linton's a physical bastard, isn't he?
Oh yeah,
he is. Not off, mate. Right, Miggy's just been played in by Gordon. We've won the ball back. Bruno's won the ball, but we've been crowded out by a number of Man City players. But he wins the ball back and wins a free kick just on the halfway line.
There's definitely nothing wrong with Bruno anyway.
A yellow card for Akanji booked for that. He definitely played for that foul, the 110%. But he's been booked. Akanji's on a yellow card on the back of that. Interesting. Very, very
you
interesting.
trip you on the pitch for your free kicks and your set plays, don't you?
Yeah.
Definitely. Guys, I'm going to put it out there again. If you haven't liked the show so far, please hit the like, subscribe buttons. We're around 50 likes as it is. Let's try and get us up to 100 plus as the show ticks on. And of course, give a subscribe to Loaded Mag NUFC if you're new to the channel, and of course Never a Foul and Daps as well, part of that team. Make sure you give them a follow too. 17k they've just approached. We're on the way to 7k, so give us both a sub. Why not?
Dabs, can I ask you a question about your channel? Because I was flicking. Is it both Man City and Man United fans in that channel?
It's everything. So it's run by myself, Ty, Cass, and a guy called Mo. Ty and Cass are Man United fans. Mo's actually an Inter Milan fan. But we cover, but then we have a lot of guests on from multiple different channels. So we kind of had 2 shows a day covering the Premier League, basically.
Yeah. And we have a lot of Newcastle fans watching your channel. Those that follow us,
we do.
Jordan Team for Life. Craig Lee, another one.
Craig Lee is Craig Lee. Do you know what I love about Craig? He comments on every single video, and he
There's
really
no goal there, Daps. 1 second,
Flew.
William, own goal there. Ball
Sorry,
whipped
I've got
in.
about 20 seconds yet, mate. I'm still.
Yeah.
I
didn't
can't even
mean
get
to-
excited when we. At the moment, I can't get excited when we attack because if you lot haven't looked miserable, then I know the attack hasn't come to anything. So I'm just here like,
I know.
So what we were
that's
saying about
disaster.
look, Craig Lee is
yeah,
a
it's
top,
brilliant.
top follower.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
a
he
great
is.
guy.
He is really deeps the shows and gives great comments back on in-depth comments on things. Ooh,
It was close.
that was,
Ball winning
Go
from
on.
Murphy. Oh, a little bit too deep. Tonali's trying to keep it on, but it goes off for a throw in out wide. Unlucky. Nice little play there.
I still haven't seen the nearly own goal yet, by the way.
Have you not?
I have now, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Right. We've got Nunez and Doku coming on.
There we go. They were the two I'd
come on
expect
the
to see
sub.
first.
For Ake's coming off. And I can't see Ake's just giving the armband to someone. So Ake's coming off and can't see who the other sub is. So Ake's coming off and Kovacic and Ake coming off.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kovacic's first game back. So.
And Doku coming on. So you've sacrificed a defender, a centre back, and you're. Are we going to see Gomez go to left back? Are we?
Yeah. It will be.
Going to push you guys forward.
It'll be Gomez. It'll be Gomez goes to left back, and then Doku plays on the left. Yeah.
Right, so let's see how that's going to work then. So
Vardiol going to where I want to see Vardiol long term.
Yeah.
I like this.
Vardiol centre back.
Yeah.
Gomez here.
Yeah.
And then Kovacic is off, but we've got
Doku.
Wherever he is. I've got him here. Jeremy Doku on. So where's Doku going to play?
Gordon.
So Doku
chance.
So Doku, I would imagine that Doku is going to play, but you've got the other one. You've got to bring off Rico Lewis for Nunez. Yeah. Oh no, who came off?
No, so it was Ake and Kovacic. So
right.
Doku's come on.
So where you put Nunez yet? You need one. We need one more player on there. That's it. Yeah.
Sorry.
God, I'm thinking. Hold on. Don't know how this is going to work. So it's Doku and Nunez both need to be on the pitch.
Yeah.
So it'll be Nunez in the middle.
Where's Nunez? There he is.
Yeah. So I would imagine it'll be Nunez there, Doku there. Or do you know what?
Side?
No. Doku can play on the left.
Okay.
And then you'd put Phillips in the middle. You put Nunez on the right. And...
Yeah. That's Nunez on the right, Phillips in the middle.
Yeah,
that's fine.
But the one thing that I would love to see, me personally, is now what I would do here as well is I would personally be switching Doku and Grealish.
Ah, okay.
Me personally, I really like. I've been saying it most of last season. I think Grealish at his best is through the middle from deeper. Because I think Grealish can really drive with the ball. I know it's not what we used to, but Doku's far more direct than Grealish is. Doku is a winger. Grealish can when players join Manchester City, I always feel like Pep believes that wide forward positions is where you can do the least damage. Because if you lose the ball, they've got a long way to go till they're at your goal. Once players can really, really master the art of the way City play football, I think you can play deeper and in a more central role. And I think Grealish could play in a deeper central role. Doku couldn't yet, so I can't imagine. But we'll see. Who knows? Pep roulette.
That's an interesting one. So this is how the teams look right now after all the changes. We've made the little swap arounds. So we've got Gomez playing left back, Doku almost playing the right, the left of a midfield three with Phillips and Nunez. Oscar Bob, who has been impressive, particularly in the first half. Alvarez, Grealish, Rico Lewis, Akanji, Vardiol, and Gomez. And we've got Newcastle. We've got Gordon playing through the middle, as we talked about. Chris Hall mentioned it. He thought that'd be an option in the summer. It is now an option. Murphy's gone over to the left. Almiron on the right. Bruno Guimaraes playing as a right-hand side, or should I say Tonali's playing as a right-hand side, Guimaraes is playing more so as a sort of a deep line player, and Joe Linton back in that midfield. I have to say,
I think Doku is playing on the. Is Doku playing on the right? I think he might be. You know,
is he? So is he playing on the right? Nunez on the left? It looks, man.
Yeah,
looks like
it does look that way. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So
just an update as well. Just an update as well, Pete. Bruno got a yellow card there while you were on the board, and I think Liverpool are winning 2-1 now, and Villa have pulled it back to it's 2-1 with Everton 2, Villa 1.
It'll be another
game on.
It will be another Liverpool 3-1. Do you think? They're winning 3-1 a lot at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's like the same old Liverpool go 1-0 down and end up winning 3-1.
Yeah.
It's
Substitutions. West Ham are winning 1-0 as well. Souček has scored against Lincoln. Interesting, very interesting. But I have to say, look, Daz, Keith, I come to you for your perspective on this. I've been massively impressed with Livramento. Really, really impressed with Livramento. What we got here? So we've got Alvarez coming off.
Foden coming on.
Go back to Man City. Alvarez coming off. Foden on. This is where the pocket play comes into effect. So who are you going to play up top? Who's up top? It looks like it's Oscar Bob.
Yeah.
Oscar Bob
in the false 9. I heard that there was rumours that he was going to play in the false 9 for the full game.
Wow.
And I'm glad he is, because they'll probably and they'll probably play Doku right wing, and they'll put
Foden in the middle.
Foden in the middle, and I hope they do that. Because my one thing this season is I don't want Foden for too many seasons. Foden is being played out of position because he can do a role there, and I want to see Foden consistently play in midfield. We've seen this season started the season off really, really well playing in midfield. I think that would make the most sense to me.
It doesn't look. If they had any intentions of bringing Haaland on, you would have thought they'd have done it now.
I wouldn't be risking Haaland. I really wouldn't be risking Haaland. Not for me.
Interesting. So this is kind of how the team, from our perspective, looks now. I'll come back to you, Daz. Keith, I mentioned about Livramento. I've got to be honest. I've been really impressed with him. I thought he's played really, really well. Very, very different to Trippier. More attacking, direct. Likes to whip balls into the box. But Keith, we'll start with you. What have you made of Livramento's performance?
Yeah, he's been pushing the game forward, hasn't he? Really been turning defence into attack on opportunities where he has been able to. Key really from the. I think he just hasn't been overawed by the occasion. Really, it's a big ask for the first start. Being that first big game against Manchester City under the lights at St James's, and he hasn't been overawed by the occasion. It's been very impressive.
Well done.
Yeah, Grealish has just hammered a shot in from the edge of the area, and Pope is made it stick like glue. And I think there was a sigh of relief from everybody, because it was a very similar situation, Daz, wasn't it, from the one at Brighton that he fumbled. And even Ferguson scored the goal, but he managed to keep that one and make it stick. But what have you made of Sandro Tonali's performance in the second half, in particular, Daz, and also Livramento from what you've seen?
Yeah, well, on Livramento first. Look, the only compliment I can give him, because I haven't watched an awful lot of it so far, only catching the end of the first half, is that we're 1-0 up and we don't have trips on the pitch. So that's a massive statement. I always have this fear of how we're going to perform without having trips. And look, he's playing really well. Yeah, and he was up the other end of the pitch. I thought it was Miggy a second ago, but no, it was Livramento. So he's getting up and down like Trips does, up and down that wing, that right wing. So I'd have to watch it back as well, the first half, to see how he got on there. But it's looking good for him. So.
Do you know the last Watchalong I did?
Southampton.
Go for it. Which one?
Southampton last season.
Daz already knew. He knew you were going to say Southampton.
Pity wasn't a quiz,
You
Keith.
know, I don't often do them, but I remember I did one that night. I did one that night. Yeah, this will never happen again. I'm telling you now. This will be my last watch along.
Don't say that yet. The game's still going on. We're in the 76th minute.
No.
Gordon's won 3.
Ball to Bruno.
Bruno
That was lovely.
3.
That touch was beautiful. Who was that from?
Oh. It's a great ball out to Murphy. Murphy just misses it, but he keeps it in. He's on the left, Newcastle's left-hand side, plays it back to Target into Joe Linton to Target again, cleared by Man City, back to Paul Dummett. I have to say, boys, Paul Dummett, 77 minutes. I don't want to jinx him or anything, but he's not had a bad game.
Future captain, I think, Pete. Look. Let's see how we go.
Past that.
Here we go again.
Ball gets knocked out for a corner. There's a little bit of an issue there. Sergio Gomez goes down under a tackle, I believe, or a coming together. I think Bruno accidentally stands on Sergio Gomez, and he goes down. We play on.
Yeah, that's shit from you like that.
Well, yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
That was
played on. We put the ball in, deflected for a corner, and now Guardiola's about to get booked.
Oh, shock! 2 games in a row. Got booked last game. Do cards carry with referees?
I don't know.
I don't think they do they?
Managers.
With managers, sorry. Do they write you've got 10 yellow cards, you're gonna miss a game?
I hope so.
Maybe just come back. The 3-1 is in effect.
I told you.
3-1 is in effect.
I told you.
19 games unbeaten. Wow.
3-1 Anfield.
No.
Gets cleared by Man City. Jamal Lascelles has got it out wide. Plays it back to Sandro Tonali. Tonali plays it back to Pope, and we start again. But
my question to Liverpool fans is, because Liverpool fans, you want to say 19 games unbeaten, you want to say we're cooking, we're back, Szoboszlai. Liverpool fans, any watching this now, do you want to say you're going to win the league? Come on. Otherwise, stop claiming all these things. Tell me you're going to win the league. Otherwise, be quiet.
Asking them to stand up and be counted.
Exactly. All this. Yeah. Making claims. If say it with chest, are you going to win the league?
Interesting. Very interesting.
It's Murphy that's up front for us. Oh.
He looks like at the moment, yeah, great. Yeah, great spot, Daz. Murphy's playing as a frontline striker, whether they're just in transition and they're making sure that everyone is marked up. But Gordon's got onto the left. Murphy's playing as the frontline striker, but Gordon's won the ball back on the halfway line, driving forward against Akanji, and Doku plays it back to Target.
Murphy's out of juice as well, by the way. I'd look to bring in Anderson now.
Interesting. Could it be that pace on the counter though that they're looking for?
Yeah,
to get in and behind, because let's face it, Man City are going to try and push now. We've just hit the 80-minute mark, 10 minutes to go before extra time, and I would imagine they expect they expect Man City to push forward, and this is just my opinion on this. I would say, in terms of a recovery ball winner, Gordon's better than Murphy. So if you've got Gordon tracking back, winning the ball, and you've got Murphy that's just pure pace that can run in behind and open up space, that may well be the thinking, but could be wrong.
Also, 1-0 up. Murphy's got Gordon's got fresher legs.
Yeah,
fresher legs. Yeah, and your press has looked a lot better since he came on. A lot better.
Yeah. Great to see our new iGaming betting partner, Bet MJM or MGM, should I say. I can see them on the sponsorship boards across St. James's Park, so that's great to see. As many Newcastle fans have said, just keep that money rolling in. More sponsors means more money, means more spending in the
He's another striker.
January.
Keep rolling.
Yeah. Hey, you must know about this. Come on, man. You know the score. You know the score. The more sponsorships, the more money.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. It's not that you need more money, but more allowance to spend the money. That is it. More, we're talking about the Saudi investment fund needing money. They just need to pay. They need the paperwork.
What a tackle!
Livramento.
What a tackle, Livramento.
I couldn't even get excited then, could I? Either. I'm like, I don't know. I've just seen a yellow card be shown to someone. That's where I am.
That was Tonali, isn't it? Yeah, kicking the ball.
That was 10 minutes ago, right?
Nunes was in. You'll see it in just a second. Nunes was in, and it's a great recovery tackle from Livramento. I am worried though. To be fair, he was holding his ankle.
What a challenge!
It's a great challenge.
Yeah. He's okay again now, Pete. I see him there.
Do you know what?
Free kick for Man City, probably about 30 yards out. I've got a feeling Foden played for this up against Joe Linton. Joe Linton's the ball's there to be won, and there's an argument that he did win it or get something on it, but he made contact with Foden. We'll have a look right now. Yeah, Foden kind of flicks it over him. There's no real contact. Not enough for him to roll around on the floor. That you'll see in the second.
Absolutely awful challenge. Awful challenge.
I knew
when you see it, you'll see what you get.
Yeah.
What a tackle there by Livramento getting his foot in.
Where's the red?
I'm sure if it was at the Etihad, it would be red, wouldn't it? Really, right now.
Mike Gang, great to have you in the chat.
To be fair, do you know what I would? The biggest thing there is.
Sorry, go on.
Hold on. Let me just look at it one more time. Oh no! Show me the Nunes. What a challenge that was! Absolutely brilliant challenge. He just put his foot in just before. It's if you look at it's. I don't think the challenge was a bad challenge, by the way. But if you look at Foden's, Foden kind of had one leg in the air when he got knocked and he got spun. And I think it might have equally has been as much of ultimately the way he fell. Probably might have got a knock on it. It wasn't a bad challenge at all. But he had one. He'd done the flick, got spun like Tasmanian Devil. Not a bad. I mean, it wasn't a booking. Wasn't even a booking. Shouldn't have been a booking. But I think maybe his balance was a bit off as well.
Yeah,
that's a fair point. That's when you went to VAR. That was the opinion.
Yeah,
there's VAR for you. Do you know what? I'm going to be honest. This is a point now where if you're Pep, you're looking at this game, and again, this is where, right? If there's clarity before the game,
ball in, collected from Pope. Doku's nice turn, probably halfway into Newcastle's half against Livramento. Really, the first time he's been beaten. Plays the ball into Foden, but Foden's just inches away, and Pope comes out to collect it.
You know what you have there as well, Pete, is that you have Trippier there right beside Livramento, talking him through the game all the way through here, in his ear, just giving him a bit of advice.
Is he on the sideline?
That was
he's right beside him. He's right beside him.
Wow, that's class.
Mate, they are the small differences you see. These are the things, right? Like last week for us in the Champions League at half-time, Ortega told Rodri...
Brilliant tackle. Sorry, Daps, 1 second.
No, it's fine. That was a great turn by Doku, by the way.
I tell you what, Doku's a player.
It's the way he turns on the balls. Just
it's so good. But Miguel Almiron wins a free kick because... he gets back into Doku, wins the ball, but then Doku sort of lands on his leg, and he's holding his leg at the moment. I don't know if he's going to get some physio, but no, he's up now.
Looking good, man.
I tell you what, I thought he was going to be really raw coming from France, but he really does look like he's just in the time that he's been with Pep. He looks like he's kicked on a level.
Do you know what it is? It's like he seems like a player that, like I said earlier, he wants to learn. He wants to impress Pep. He wants to improve his game. And what I was going to say before, midweek against Red Star Belgrade last week, at half-time, Ortega told Rodri, shoot low. because this goalkeeper's very, very good in the air, but along the ground, he's awful. Rodri scored with a low shot. And Rodri said afterwards, because Ortega on the bench has been watching their goalkeeper. And then the other thing, against Forest at the weekend, our kit man ran all the way round to stand behind Ederson and tell Ederson, remind Ederson, you're on a yellow card already, so calm down with your slowing down of the game. And just little things like that, you know that your manager and his whole staff around him are on job. Like you won't see things. Honestly, you won't see things like that happening with Man United at the moment. You won't. Right?
Nah.
That's the difference. The small little things are the difference.
For me, I think Newcastle can be more than competitive against Man United. Like we've never, and we talked about this last season, Daz, so you'll know, like we've never finished above Man United in a Premier League season. But the way things are at the moment, like I would fully expect us to do that this season, and I would want us to be competitive to make sure what happens. Gordon just passed the halfway line, running up against Man City. He's against 3 men, 4 men. He's still got the ball. He's still got the ball. Now he's advancing into the box. Anthony Gordon, can he deliver? Or keeper saves and it's out for a corner. That should be a corner. No way. That went off for a corner.
We've still got the ball on the attacking mark.
And now you're on the counter attack. Doku's approaching the halfway line. That should have been a corner. That went off blatantly. How the referee's not seen that?
He's up on his own though as well, Pete. There's no one is making the run to meet him.
How he kept that ball, I'm now on it. How he's kept that ball for all that time, I do not know.
He's done brilliantly, Gordon. There, we might have to expect him to do that for another 7 or 8 minutes.
Yeah, see what I was going to say before is and this is where between FIFA, between the Premier League, between, I don't know, the Carabao Cup, whoever it is that does the scheduling, it should be worked out, this quarter cup, if the quarter final and the Club World Cup, if they are going to be played. Because if I'm Pep now, it's the 88th minute, we're 1-0 down. Do I want this to go into injury time?
Yeah.
Knowing that if we do go into injury time...
the ball drops in the box for Man City... Cleared by Newcastle, back out to about 30 yards out. Phillips recycles the ball. Sorry, Daps. No. Man City are applying a little bit of pressure here. Doku again looking strong. Edge of the box for Rico, just wide. Wow, I thought that was going in. Is that Rico Lewis just wide on the edge of the box? Picks the ball up. Lovely work from Doku. Doku is such a talented player.
Yeah,
plays it out wide. Rico Lewis with the ball, whips it literally just past the post. If that's on target, I think it beats Pope. It's a great little piece of passage of play. And Tonali's coming off to a huge round of applause from Newcastle fans. Not sure who's coming on. Elliot Anderson is coming on. Just a real quick one, guys. Breaking news that Chelsea win a game against Brighton.
That was close from Rico Lewis.
And even more, it was close. You're right, 100%. Another breaking news: Everton win a game against Villa. Wow!
So the whole household will be happy, won't they?
They are.
Was it Chelsea 1-0? Was it Chelsea 1-0?
It was 1-0. I don't know. I'm assuming that's how it finished, but it was 1-0. Yeah, it was. Yeah, finished 1-0. Villa won 2-1 in the end. And lots of praise for Livermentos. Kept Grealish quiet all game. Gordon has been flashed since he come on, lads. Yes, we're right. I think that's knew that anyway.
I didn't. No, I didn't. Yeah, you're right. No, now you say it. Yeah. So in that case, City keep pushing for another one.
Yeah, brilliant tackle.
Livermento.
From Livermento. And
6 minutes
is on the run. 6 minutes injury time, but we are already a minute into that as well. So 5 minutes to go for Newcastle to hang on. We just want to throw in just under halfway into Man City's half. Livermento, who's been immense today, he really has put in a great performance. It'd be great for him to get a win and boost his confidence. With this, Bruno Guimaraes wins the ball in the air in midfield. You got Anderson putting his body on the line. Murphy the same, winning the ball back.
Go on.
Deep into Man City's half. Murphy wins the ball out to Bruno Guimaraes. Bruno Guimaraes again. Jolinton. Good save from the goalkeeper. Good
Shot
save.
from nowhere.
Yeah, out of nothing, Daz. You're absolutely right. But a good effort. Yeah, it was comfortable, but it was
worth the pop.
Yeah, definitely.
4 minutes.
Yeah. Let's see. Ball into Doku, deep
Danger,
into
man.
Newcastle's half. Great tackle again.
Memento again.
Memento. Wow.
Man of the match.
I think
He's
so.
got to be up there. Oh, the ball's broke, Jolinton. Oh, dumb it with the classic slide. Get in there, dumb it. With a classic slide tackle.
Vintage Dummett there. I say.
You're right, yeah. Vintage.
Right.
How old is this Dummett?
45.
Yeah, 32 going on 45, something like that anyway. That's brilliant defending from Matty Target, who we haven't really talked about tonight. We haven't talked about him at all, really. Brilliant defending.
Dummett is nearly as old as Scott Carson.
Right, okay.
That old.
Absolute legend that is Scott Carson.
Mm.
He's on the bench tonight, isn't he, actually?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Wow. So, as Mike Gent says, 6 minutes. Craig Lee puts it very simple. Skin the first half, Skinners the second half. That's how he sees it, Craig Lee.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah. It's one of them ones where I'm looking at. I'm not.
Man of the match. Livramento.
Oh, he has, yeah.
Livramento, yeah.
Livramento.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Deserves it. He has been immense. Wow. We said it in the summer, Daz, didn't we? We bigged him up. We said if we can get him in, he is going to be a hell of a player for Newcastle.
Oh, Dummett's coming off. Shar's coming on for Dummett.
Paulie D. Hey, to be fair, 93 minutes. That's a great stint for him. Bring Shar on.
It's a club shop now for the rest of the week for him.
Yeah. back to the oxygen chamber for another 6 months until he's ready to play again. Love it. Interestingly, because Shar normally plays on the right, is he going on to the left? It must be, because Lascelles never plays on the left. We've got 2 minutes, boys.
For the 2 minutes, he'll manage for 2 minutes.
Yeah, we've got 2 minutes, boys, to go. 2 minutes to go. Jolinton, brilliant takedown.
It'll be 3 minutes for you.
Yeah. I'm looking at it, trying to work out.
That's brilliant play. Well done.
Who have you got the weekend, Dab?
Wolves away.
Wolves.
That's the one I'm going to be looking at. I'm intrigued to see how we play, because I think how we play against Wolves is going to probably be similar to how we play against Arsenal the week after without Rodri.
You know what? I'm worried about Wolves. I think Wolves could potentially get the drop this year.
I don't know. I mean, the way the guys that have just come up are playing, but I hear you. I hear you. But it's just at the moment you look at. Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I think Wolves are more for me. Wolves across the season, I think, are going to be more in the conversation than Everton will be.
Yeah, Sharon, as we said, Daps Inter Milan lost.
Yeah, I see that.
2-1 at home to Sicily. Mo won't be happy, Bunny. Right, we're 5.5 minutes into the 6 minutes of added time. Miguel Almiron halfway into Newcastle's half, chasing down the defenders, keeps chasing over to Akanji. Big tackle from Target that smashes it up the pitch. A huge roar from the Newcastle fans. I think it's gone out for a throw-in, but they've smashed it right up the pitch. Akanji's back at the halfway line with the ball. It has now hit the 6 minutes of added time. The ball gets played in and behind and runs out for a throw-in to Doku, who chases it but can't get there. And there's another huge roar from the Newcastle fans as well. Newcastle are about to take the throw. We are well into the 6 minutes, 6 minutes 20, 21. Livramento with a throw out. Big throw out. Who's the ref tonight? Is that Kevin Friend? Is he the ref?
I don't know.
If it's Kevin Friend, I bumped into him the other day because he lives around the corner from me. when I see him next time, I'm going to say, good game.
Come on, the whistle must go now, surely.
No, still playing. Rico Lewis.
I guess because of the throw-ins.
Oscar Bob
the
is on. He's whipped the
substitutions.
ball into the box. Oscar Bob got the ball out. Big head out. And it's over. It's over. The game is over. How and Pep shake hands. It's over. Newcastle United win. Massive win for Newcastle.
There we go. It's meltdown. It's meltdown time at Manchester City. It is meltdown time. The meltdown begins.
It won't be meltdown time for Man City. It'll be meltdown time for, or it'll be excitement meltdown time for Man United fans, Tottenham fans, Arsenal fans.
Arsenal fans will be the ones.
They'll be coming out out the woodwork to have a go at Man City. But look, Newcastle United won. Massive win, 1-0 into the next round of the cup. Like I say, I've got to be honest, boys. I don't know what your thoughts are on this. I never ever thought that that we would get the win, having seen the starting lineup, but massively impressed with all of that. Daz, what's your initial thoughts at full time?
Yeah, no.
Hold on, who's Pep speaking to then?
This ref was.
No. He went up to a Newcastle player and was having a chat with one of them. I'll be intrigued. It'll come out tomorrow.
Tapping them up.
No. It's not the tapping up ones. Then he's speaking to them. What it is with Pep often is you'll see him go over to a player on the other team and give them a lot of credit. This stuff. It's weird.
Joe Linton now as well.
Yeah, he won't be tapping him up. He'll be, he's bang in the middle of all the Newcastle players having a chat with them all.
Oh, my God. Look.
Now, you boys have to do your job now. You boys have to go and get it done this season. Because I already said to Cass last night, it could end up being a Newcastle Man United round 2. And this time, you boys have to go and get the job done.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Really nice moment there. Really nice moment. Isaac and Haaland kind of swap shirts. Haaland obviously didn't play, but
Scandinavian boys, didn't they?
Yeah, the Scandinavian boys obviously have massive respect for each other. Look! If Isaac can entice and encourage Haaland to make the move north, as Newcastle fans will take that. Though.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, no. It's a big win for Newcastle. Another clean sheet. 4 clean sheets on the bounce, Newcastle fans. 4 clean sheets on the bounce. Livramento, man of the match, outstanding performance.
Yeah.
Outstanding performance. Got to give props to Paul Dummett. I was nervous. Keith, you were nervous as well. Talk to us about Paul Dummett's performance.
Mm-hmm.
I just think he showed some of that vintage. Really, it's we had what the old memory bank is. We were worried about. I certainly was worried about match fitness. Game match fitness before the game with Dummett getting and run out for so long and that competitive edge, but he didn't let anybody down tonight, did he, with some of those sliding tackles,
Yeah.
But that's for sure. If Paul Dummett is to leave Newcastle this season, he's leaving out on a high with performances like that, isn't he? Really,
100%.
we don't know what's going to happen, and he pulled it out of nowhere tonight.
Well, Pep Guardiola was talking to him there a few minutes ago, so there could be breaking news tomorrow. You never know.
Him and Scott Carson link up.
Yeah, the old boys.
Yeah,
the old boys back and bringing the band back together. Look, Daps. Look, we need to come to you from a Man City point of view, from a Man City perspective. What have you made of the game tonight, having watched it with his boys? And is it what you expected? And is it going to be the meltdown that kind of you sort of joked about at full time?
No, it won't be the meltdown. The last time I think City have lost more than 2 games on a bounce was Pep's first season. So it certainly won't be the meltdown. But I don't know how to see it because I've seen our Carabao Cup performances before where we rotate. right?
Yeah.
And a few changes to the City machine can make a big difference. Just a few personnel changes can make a massive, massive difference. I wasn't mad at the performance. I wasn't unhappy with the performance. The first half performance I actually thought was pretty damn good. I guess the one thing for me is momentum and the fact that, you know what, I would have liked another game, another win, just keep it going. And that's what I mean. Look, I don't expect us to challenge. I didn't expect us to go in for the Carabao Cup this season because of the way it falls with the Super Cup. But I guess it's got now as a City fan so that we've got the same mentality as Pep now. We don't want to lose a game. I don't want to lose any game. So even though I don't think we probably would have gone all the way in the Carabao Cup, it's not good losing. Just little things like, you know, us having the fact that most times we play Newcastle, we get a result against you. Like we lost the Community Shield to Arsenal, right? And our record against Arsenal is just win, 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 win. I know it's in the Community Shield, but still it's like just keep that mentality over as many clubs as possible that you can't beat us. And, you know, we've got to go to St James's Park later in the season. So this will give you boys a little bit more confidence going into that game, right? Going, do you know what? We know we can beat City now. We have beat City. And last season at St James's Park, it's 3-3, great game. In fact, I think we did the preview for that as well. And it's just these little things that now this will give you a little bit of confidence going into the league game, which will mean more to us later in the season. So it's what it is, though. Like I said, I mean, if City weren't going to win the Carabao Cup, then I think I'd like Newcastle to win it, to be honest with you. So go and get the job done.
I'll take that.
Go and get the job done now. Like,
cheers, Stab.
Get your first, and this is a thing where you need your first trophy. We won an FA Cup before we won a Premier League. A group of players have to taste it to enjoy the taste and then go and get more. So I think this is one that I think you boys. That's why I actually didn't think you would have rotated as heavily as this, by the way, because I thought you lot might have looked at this and gone, no, we want this. You know, we're playing Manchester City in is this second or third round? Third round, isn't it?
Third round,
This
I
is
think.
third round. If we weren't in the Champions League, we wouldn't have rotated as much, but we have to rotate.
I guess so, yeah, you do. But I think this is one that if I'm Eddie Howe, and this is, like we've said, he's a long-term manager. This is a long-term project. If I'm Eddie Howe, I'm looking at this tournament and I'm going, you know what? We've got Manchester City, the favourites, in the third round. If we can beat them in the third round, then we've already knocked out the favourites. Why can't we win it? Right? Why can't we win it? From now, this is... And the other thing is, by the way, the one thing that, you know, I always said this when we were winning them back to back to back to back. And then when Liverpool went and won it that time, is getting a trophy in February is great for your mentality going on in the rest of the season. If you can get it over the line in February, it could help you to kick on as well. So I think Newcastle really in this tournament, I get it with the Champions League, it's going to be hard, but you should see this as one that is your first trophy for me. Newcastle should be looking at this going, do you know what? By February, we could have our first trophy. Let's get this one over the line.
Definitely.
That'll be the plan.
Sorry, Daz, go for it.
No, that'll be the plan. But it'll be very interesting to see who we get in the round, which is coming up in a few minutes as well. They usually drag along. So
Man United. Because I don't know if you've noticed the Carabao Cup, the draw of the Carabao Cup is the dodgiest draw I've ever seen in my life. Every round you see something. In fact, I'm pretty certain it was. I swear us and you weren't actually supposed to be drawn with each other. I'm sure.
Yeah, you're right.
We got drawn, then actually afterwards it came out, it wasn't City v Newcastle, but we'll just leave them to play each other anyway. And I guarantee you, tonight, Manchester United are going to get... Man United will get an easy draw. Like in the Carabao Cup, Manchester United always last season were getting an easy draw. And the fact that Newcastle were given City and City were given Newcastle, I guarantee you later on, you lot will probably have someone like Arsenal, and Manchester United will probably have, I don't know who's left in it, they'll probably have
Bournemouth
or something like that, yeah. But now, well done. And Livramento, great performance from him, man. Great performance. And Gordon was probably... probably the game changer. I can't be mad at our performance. I don't think our performance was bad for 10 minutes. We had that 10-minute spell, kind of beginning in the second half, 10, 15-minute spell. And then after that, we kind of got back into it, just maybe missing that slight cutting edge. So
I think the 10 minutes before half time as well was crucial as well, really, and helping to change the game as well.
Yeah.
Because Newcastle were really under the cosh for that first 35 minutes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Is the draw tonight?
Yeah, draws in 10 minutes time. Right, I need to jump off because
I know you've got Daps. Just want to say massive thanks for you to joining us for the Watchalong.
Appreciate coming on. You ever want me to come on away from a watch-along for an actual chat about football, whatever? Whenever you need me, man, I'm always here. Enjoy doing shows with you guys. So and listen, tell Paddy, Daz, that he let me down. He let me down. He didn't answer my call.
Daps, just before you go, just plug where everyone can find you. We all know where we can find you.
Yeah.
Plug where we can find you, mate.
So myself, I'm on Instagram, MCFC Daps. Best place to find me is there, is in social wise. I interact with everyone that interacts with me. Every message I get sent, I respond to and chat with people. Support any club, speak about football. And then as far as my content, it's never a foul, twice daily. In fact, 2 live shows a day, and now we're putting up an upload every morning as well. So we've got to do one of them tonight as well, probably talking about tonight's game briefly, just a little 15-minute show. So never a foul, and we're going to be live in 5 on there. So appreciate you guys having me, and thanks to the live chat for getting involved. And everyone, just smash the like. Make sure every single one of you has hit the like button so that when this video ends, it gets pushed to more people.
Cheers, Dad.
Love, man.
See you soon, man. And I have to say, just before he goes, that I know you weren't well today and wasn't sure whether you're going to make it, but massively appreciate you coming on and joining us.
No. Come on. I feel a little bit hot with these lights on me as well. It's not helping me. But anyway, in a bit.
You take care, mate. Speak to you soon.
See you later.
Legend. Great to have Daps on.
Really nice guy, actually.
Daps. Yeah, Daps is a great guy, and it's great to have his perspective. And the one thing I like about Daps is that he's a realist. Like, he talks from a genuine position and a neutral position. He loves Man City; it's his club. We get it, but he talks from a realist position. And if he thinks someone else is played better or someone else is in a better position, whatever club it is, like he'll say it as it is, and I like that about him, because you don't get too many on social media, or certainly in the kind of the YouTube worlds where they're very sort of neutral. They're very much blinkered to their own clubs. But boys, get in there, get in there. We're in the next round. Get in. Look, I want to get your thoughts and feelings about this. Daz asked you a minute ago, but I'll come back to you just a second. Keith, what do you make of this 1-0 Newcastle United win into the next round? What are your initial thoughts about all of it? Tell us your summary of what you're thinking right now.
Before Keith answers, can I ask him a question? What was your prediction, Dr. Doom?
No, we never got to that, did we? We never actually got to that. We managed to cover.
I gave my prediction. I said it'd be 2-1, but we didn't get to your prediction. We got stats, and then the game started. So go for it. What was going to be your prediction? And be honest.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be City. To be honest, I thought it was going to be a narrow City win. To be honest, maybe a 2-1 or a 1-0 to City, really, or 2-0 to City. Just a narrow win, but couldn't be happier than how things have came out. I think this is a real sort of confidence booster for the squad in terms of squad depth. Because Howe did make 10 changes. You think Livramento is the man of the match against Manchester City in a game like that. What that'll do for his confidence. Dummett came in again, somebody who hasn't really seen action for how long, and look at the performance he turned in. Miley as well, the experience Miley would have got from this game as well, being in there and being on the winning side. That's what I was most pleased with in terms of this. If they'd even kept the score down, and even if it gotten penalties, can you imagine those guys would have said we've managed to hold City out, even though it wasn't the first starting 11 City. If you look at it and say Foden came on at some stage, Foden played a part, especially in the last 10 minutes or so. There was still some big players in there, even though Haaland didn't figure tonight.
Yeah. For me, Pete, I'll answer the same question. Thoughts on the game. Like I missed the first 40 minutes. Yeah, Livramento man of the match, followed by I think I'm second. Because when I come on, that's when the game changed. But
it did.
And
Everyone
Paddy,
was
my broadband provider.
Daz, we're getting a few flooding in right now. Really quickly, if you're flooding in, just click that like on the way in, and just remember, Daz changed the game. He changed the game. That's what we.
Never mind
That's all we need
Livramento.
to know. But not
Or Gordon
Livramento,
or Bruno.
not Isak with the goal. Daz Shocks changed the game. Sorry, Daz. Carry on, fella.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering where I'll place my award now. But anyway, yeah. Look, City as well. Daps kind of alluded to it. Like they left Haaland on the bench. If they were going really going for this, he wouldn't be sitting on the bench. You know, they'd risk him for 20 minutes or so. But absolutely delighted we're through to the next round. Like Keith, I didn't think we were going to get through here. I thought it was going to be a narrow victory for Man City because that's what we're used to. But and as Keith also said, then now and Daps said it, that now that we've beaten Man City, that mental side of things is going to be out of our heads. We can go at them when we play them next and go for it because they'll be full strength then as well. So, but yeah, looking forward to see who we get in the draw now, Pete.
It's exciting, but
looking forward to seeing who we get through the draw, apart from Chelsea, Liverpool, or Arsenal.
Oh my God! Don't do that. Don't do that to us, Keith.
Make it a nice home tie. Make it a nice home tie.
Yeah, a home tie is the most important. But at the same time, we're going to have to play them sometime. With some of the big boys sometimes. So is it better? You know, you don't know what's the best.
Just to be absolutely clear, are you boys happy to stay on for the draw?
Yeah, it'll be half an hour before they put it on, but yeah.
I'm just putting it out there because I'm okay to stay on. But if you're not, no worries, no pressure, no nothing. People in the chat, we're happy to stay on as a channel for the draw, but no pressure if you're not able to. I just want to put this on. Big shout out to Richie. Just dropped me this picture here that is a little boy. I say little boy. He's not so little. But Chris has put on Tino Livramento pulling in the reins from Doku and Grealish. Boys, Livramento was so good, wasn't he? He was so good today. Daz, how good was he?
He was. I'm taking your word for it in the first 40 minutes how good he was. But from what I saw him, he was very good. He was down the wing as well. Look at him there, even in the clip back. He's in the mix there. He's playing the Trippier role, so he's learning from Trips as well. We knew he had what he had in his locker already, but he's building on what he has. And as I said in while we were watching it live, it was great to see Trips there beside him and warming up. He was never coming on, but warming up just in his ear, giving him the words of wisdom, talking him through the game. And yeah, we're in safe hands as well. Like now, if Trips was to go missing for a few games, don't want that to happen, but at least we have Livramento. We know we can slot in there and do a job for us, and he will be our future.
Definitely. Look, just add on to what Daz has said, Keith. Like, how good can this guy be? Tino Livramento. I think he made the most tackles of any player on the pitch tonight. Up and down the wing, whipping balls into the box. Had a play and involvement in lots of good things attacking going forward. First start for Newcastle, and he goes in and has a big influence in beating Man City in the Carabao Cup. How good is that?
I don't even want to say it. I don't even want to say coming of age performance because we knew he was good when we signed him.
Yeah.
You know, we knew he was good and we knew the potential he had. But to go in there, first start against Manchester City, against the players that Manchester City have, you know, playing the likes of Foden, even though it wasn't for the full minutes, but really he was changing the game, wasn't he? You know, on that 35 minutes, they were able to withhold that pressure and for that time and come through 35 minutes in and see it out until half time. I just think it's a great character building right throughout the team, really. And Trippier was almost like a coach manager on the pitch, wasn't he? At the side of the pitch there, wasn't he? You know, giving some of the instructions out and some of the guidance there.
Yeah, Daz mentioned it. He did mention it. He did mention he just nipped off. He just putting the charger into his laptop, so we'll just be back in a second. But you're absolutely right, Keith. Keep going with that because it's a really, really interesting point.
I think it's just more in the direction where Trippier might be going in the next couple of seasons. You know, all being well and staying at Newcastle, you know, for that length of time and during the contract period, it's building those coaches and building those characters off the pitch as well for Newcastle to build the wider team almost. And I can see Trippier doing more and more on that. We've got to be realistic and we can't expect sort of Trippier to knock out 40 to 50 games a season, you know, and be figuring on the pitch actively in that. You need your leaders off the pitch as well. And, you know, even though Trippier didn't actually play any minutes on the pitch tonight, he was still guiding players through, really, and he'll be doing a lot of that off the pitch, being the mentor figure for Livramento, you know, sort of briefing him in milestones in his career. What is he expecting? What to expect in times on the pitch and off the pitch, really, and how to handle that. Really, this is going to happen here. This is how I handled this. You know, he's going to be doing a lot of that with the likes of Livramento, with Hall, off the pitch, really, just to help them through in terms of what to expect and how to deal with it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Eddie Howe's just having his press conference on Sky at the moment, waxing lyrical about Newcastle United, of course. David R said, Pete, would you fancy West Ham in the next round? Lord is still thinking they're better than us. Oh, we get them in the next couple of weeks. Don't worry about that. Newcastle at the moment, four clean sheets. You can see my fingers now. 4 clean sheets in a row. We are moving in the right direction, nicely into Burnley, then into PSG, and then into West Ham. So, for me, we're full of confidence at the moment. What do you think, Keith?
It's a turnaround, really. In some respects, that Brighton game was the best and worst thing that's happened to Newcastle, really. They needed that kick up the rear. Sometimes you need that worst ever performance to hit the bottom and say, look, we ain't allowing that to happen again. And you need to go back to the drawing board. And I think Howe would have done a lot of that, really. And I think there would have been a lot of people in briefing rooms saying, look, after that performance and saying, we're not going to be as bad as that again. That's not acceptable. Yeah. And I think there would have been a lot of pointing to the travelling Toon Army as well, the 4,000 that made the way down to Brighton and singing the hearts out and that. And I think he's saying, look, we're not. This ain't acceptable. What we've just done on the pitch here in the last game here. We'll regroup. We'll go again after international break. We'll go again, and we can have no complaints really in terms of what they've done in those last 4 games. You know, if somebody had said, by the way, when you come back, certainly after the Brighton, that's the lowest. But by the way, when we come back, you're going to have 2 league wins. You're going to have a couple of league wins, and you're going to beat AC. You're going to have a draw against AC Milan, your first Champions League match in 20 years, and you're going to beat Manchester City at home at St James's Park in the League Cup and be through the next round. I think everybody has snapped their hands off at that, really.
100%. Look, those that are flooding into the chat right now, just make sure you click that like, click that subscribe button, and come and join the Loaded Mag Ultras and the Loaded Mag family. Make sure you come and join us and get all things Loaded Mag available to you. Just a few comments and opinions coming in as we've been talking about various different things. No, Shane, no. Don't say that we'll probably draw Arsenal. That's not what we want. That's the one that we want to avoid. That's what we've been talking about over the 90 minutes that we don't want more than anything. Dave, great to see you, Dave, in the chat. Gordon helps change games. He takes players out of the game as they have to watch him, and his speed on the counter-attacks is a great point. Minnesota Mad, great to see you in there from the second half. Said Who we get doesn't matter as long as it's a home game. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
If we can beat Man City at home, we could beat anybody at home.
And it'd be lovely to get one over Liverpool, wouldn't it?
Oh,
in big time.
Definitely. That would be nice.
Could it be a Tyne Tees derby even? Could it even be a Tyne Tees derby in the next round? Middlesbrough in the next round of the Cup as well. Been a long time since we played the Borough.
Yeah,
potentially. I didn't hear the interview as such, or very close up, but Hal praised Livramento naturally because he was man of the match, he was quality. And David R, I think he echoes all of our opinions, guys. Paul Dummett, second half, fair play to him. Some huge tackles, unreal for that starting defence to keep a clean sheet. We are so well drilled throughout the squad, boys. I'm in full agreement with that. Daz, what are your thoughts about what David R said?
Yeah, look, I'm doing an awful lot of joking around Paul Dummett working in the club shop, but no, fair play to him. He came in and he did a job tonight, and he lasted like 93 minutes or something like that before Shar came on. So really well done to him. Yeah, depending on who we get in the next round, I'll see, and what other game fixtures we have around the time of that game. I don't know when that game will land. Does anyone know when the next round will be played?
October, isn't it?
Okay, so it's after.
He says that so casually, like, yeah, it's just the 30th of October. None of us have got no idea.
We've got a quiet month. We don't have a lot going on this next month, though. Really.
Is it on TV, Keith? Do you know who we're playing?
I love it. It's
so honestly, casual. I think some fans would like Borough because, to be honest, that wouldn't be far to travel for either set of supporters, would it? Really?
Okay, so that would mean that we have Borussia Dortmund at home on the 25th of October. We have Wolves away on the 28th of October. Then I'll be into the fourth round, and then we have Arsenal after that. It's a busy round of fixtures there, and then Dortmund after that again. So yeah, Paul Dummett will be playing in the next game.
It's non-stop, but look, we keep things ticking over. We keep that regular football going. Like you said, players like Livramento, Hall will still get regular football. Yeah. They'll get an opportunity to put themselves in line for a first team start. It's not a bad thing. And look, there's still teams in there that we can comfortably beat. Like, I think, I can't remember who said it, is as long as we get a home tie. Minnesota Mag said, as long as we get a home tie, it doesn't really matter. And if we were to get a Championship League 1, League 2 side in the next round, and we were to say they come to St. James's Park and those boys played the way they played tonight, we'd be looking at looking at the fourth, fifth round and beyond. Or is it fifth round, or does it go straight to the quarters after the fourth? I don't know how it works.
I think, does it go to quarters? Does it? No, but there's still a lot of teams. There's still a lot of teams in, isn't there?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure if it's the fourth round and then goes into the fifth round and then the quarters.
There's got to be a fifth. Sure. There's got to be a fifth, maybe in early December, because really, you've still got about 16 teams in, because there were about 8 teams that went through yesterday. And then you've had all the fixtures tonight, so I think it's fifth round. It could be tricky, but it could be a St. James's Park derby next, because Exeter City won last time as well. They beat Luton. As long as we don't go all the way down to there at Exeter.
Yeah, I'd quite happily take the real St. James's Park as the game up north for those boys. They come up to the real St. James's Park. I'd take that all day long as the next round. That is 100% sure. But look, there's been some fantastic performances. Obviously, we've waxed lyrical about him. Tino Livramento officially got the player of the match. Brilliant performance from Livramento. And fully deserved. And look, Daz, I'll come back to you again, because I said it to you before. I'll say it to you again. We said it in the fully loaded transfer shows. A lot of people questioned it when we were trying to bid for him, and there was a week of kind of tug of war, should we say, in whether the deal was going to get done. And we continue to say on the fully loaded transfer shows, Livramento is worth the money. He will put performances in that will take us to the next level and be a rightful kind of, transition player, and then take the rightful role from Kieran Trippier when, inevitably Kieran Trippier moves on in the next couple of years, because he's 33 years old right now. And, putting this sort of performance in is going to get Newcastle fans really excited of what we've got to come for the years to come, surely.
Yeah. Look, it is looking really, really well so far. I remember because we did a show right when the news broke, and it was I can't remember the initial figure we went in with, and then it was way over that then that we actually got brought him in for. But look, he's looking like, if he keeps continuing like this, he'll be a bargain. So great to have him as an option, and because Trippier is going to need to be rested for himself more than anything else. And we need him, as we've seen in the Champions League games. We need him on the pitch for all those Champions League games to stand any chance of coming out of the group, or even coming in third spot and getting into the Europa League. Yeah, no, delighted with what the bit I've seen of him, and I think he'll do a job in some Premier League games as well if Trips needs to take a break.
Definitely. Look, Keith, I know you've been, like, to be fair, you have been absolutely outstanding tonight. I know that you may not have been able to come be with us for the majority of the watch along tonight, but you stayed for the vast majority, and I massively appreciate that. And so does Daz and all the boys that loaded. Massive thanks to you. Great stats at the beginning, great opinions on the tactics board. I know you've got to go. Thank you so much, and you'll be back, won't you, tomorrow night, away days?
Yep, I certainly will be part of some part back in some time tomorrow.
Quality stuff. But look, I know you've got to go. Massive thanks, Keith, for joining us. And look, we got the win. Get in there. Final thoughts before you go?
Yeah, absolutely. A real character building performance, really, for the team, at an unexpected win, really. It was a free hit almost, and this is the first time I can remember that we've had a free hit in the cup, rang the changes, and got through. Yeah, battle of the change sides, and we've come through it. So it's brilliant, really. We could look back on this performance this season and think, what did that do to these players? And we could see some of these players like Livramento, like Hall feature, and like Miley feature in games in this season, and really kick on from this. So brilliant night all around. No negatives to take from it at all, really.
Definitely. You take care, Keith. We'll
Cheers,
speak
Keith.
to you soon.
Thanks a lot, lads. Have a great
Talk
night.
to you soon.
See you later.
Good luck, mate.
Great to have Keith on. And just as we let Keith go, the balls are about to be put in.
Yes.
The
ones we don't want to see, Pete, are we don't want to see are 11, 12, and 15. They are Chelsea, Arsenal, and Liverpool. And we take Chelsea, right? But
here we go.
Yeah, we don't want Arsenal.
Newcastle number 16, by the way. Number 5 comes out. That's Mansfield. Take it. I'll take it.
Take that away days, yeah.
Come on, 16. Come on, 16. Oh, number 7. Who's that? Port Vale. Come on. What tie is that?
We'll take that for the 5th round.
Yeah.
The winner of that.
That's true. Very true. Number 3. Who's that? Ipswich. Oh, I had a decent start to the championship season. Number 13. Fulham. Ipswich and Fulham. Number 4. Oh, Man United. No. Oh no, Newcastle.
Oh, fuck. Is the final?
Man United away.
Away.
You are having an absolute
We'll
laugh.
do them, Pete. We'll do them.
To be fair, you're right.
Or
Like,
away. That's the only thing.
of all the draws, it had to be
Dabs called it,
the
didn't
top
he?
half of the Premier League team. Yeah,
He called
he
it.
did. He called it.
Former at Liverpool.
Liverpool get Bournemouth.
It's Arsenal, is it?
Chelsea at home.
Chelsea.
Chelsea against Blackburn. Come on, man.
The worst draw possible so far compared to the others.
West Ham at home. West Ham Arsenal. Ooh.
Interesting. The Battle of the Dans.
Yeah, that is true. West Ham Arsenal. There's a couple of big draws in there. Number 9. Everton got home draw. Oh.
Both Everton and Newcastle won tonight. There won't be Avon sold in Merseyside tonight.
Everton Burnley. Oh, dice against his old club.
Oh, that'll be interesting.
Very, very interesting. Can't believe it, man. Of all the shite that's in the competition still. Exeter at home again. Jesus Christ. Who do they get? Middlesbrough. Oh, we got the wrong draw, man.
Yeah, but we can beat them, Pete. And if you think about, okay, like we play Wolves, then Man United, then Arsenal. So away to Wolves, away to Man United, home to Arsenal, away to Dortmund after that. But Man United will be playing Champions League football that week as well. So
yeah,
we're all both in the same boat. So it's not like Chelsea could have gone all on first, you know.
So just run through those fixtures again. How do those fixtures?
If it's the 30th, like that Keith said, we play Wolves on the 28th of October. So that then we would play. Does it say the dates here? Yeah, 30th of October. He's right. So then we would play Man United on. It's the week of. When is the 30th of October? Let me see.
Week commencing the 30th of October, so it'll be early November, I imagine. If it's
okay, so it's not the ties are on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, so it's either the 31st or the 1st.
Yeah,
the game's on. So play Wolves on the 28th, then on the 31st or the 1st we play Man United away, and then Arsenal at home on the Saturday. And that game's on Sky.
I imagine that'll be pushed back to the Sunday. I imagine.
But we play in the Champions League on the Tuesday, so it can't.
Oh no, okay, no, you're right. So what I think will happen is I imagine will be the Tuesday fixture.
Yeah, will be the Tuesday. So it'll be
the Tuesday the 2nd. Because when do we play on the weekend before? Do we play on the Sunday?
Wolves on the Saturday at 5:30 on Sky.
Okay, so yes, we'll play Wolves on the Saturday. I imagine we'll play Man United on the Tuesday, 31st of October.
Yeah.
In the Carabao Cup. And then we play Arsenal on the Saturday 5:30 kickoff. Ready then for the Champions League game the following week.
Yeah. Busy times.
Yeah.
But I think look at with Man United being in the exact same position as us, no one has an advantage over each other. They'll have to mix up their squad as well.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So who do they have? Oh, 1 second. So they have Man City. Ooh, they have Man City the Sunday.
Before or after?
Before.
Okay.
So they have Man City before at home at Old Trafford. They have Man City before we play them on the Tuesday. So the way, and I'm assuming it's a Tuesday, by the way.
Yeah,
So
it will be.
their fixture is currently down for the Sunday. It says 3:30, so it's likely to change. But yeah, I mean, it could well change to the Saturday, but it could well be It's
Who do
likely
they
to
play
change.
after us? Who do they play?
So once they play us on the Tuesday, the Saturday, they're away at Fulham.
Okay.
So that's the game that they've got afterwards. So they're if they're going to go but if they go all out with Man City, they're likely to rest players against Newcastle in order to make sure that they're right in their. If they play a similar team like they played against Crystal Palace, it's a similar team to what Man City played tonight, but maybe even lesser quality. But let's face it, it is a lesser quality, but it's just the fact that they're at home.
Yeah, it's not going to be acceptable for them to rest players against City before they play us. So that's a good thing. So
exactly. So they're going to be playing their strongest team against Man City before they play us, and at that point, where's their priority going to be? Is it going to be the Premier League, which it's likely to be, or is it going to be the Carabao Cup? Yes, they want to win a trophy, but at that point, who's to say in the next few weeks that they're not going to be getting smashed and losing games? They could well be prioritizing that Man City game. Eric Ten Hag's under massive pressure right now. Is he going to be prioritizing that the Premier League to ensure that they're up there challenging? It's an interesting one. But for me, like I fully expect us to be competitive in that game, just like we were tonight. If we can knock out Man City, we can knock out any team in the cup currently that are in there, home or away. So we can be competitive. And let's not forget, Daz, we've got Joe Linton back tonight. We'll have Joe Willett back as well. So we'll have players back, and hopefully
and need minutes. Yeah.
There's no serious injuries.
And Hall will have a few more minutes under his belt as well, and a bit more training, so he should be more up to speed. How do you think he got on tonight? Because I didn't really see much of him. Not seen much of the first half.
Yeah, it wasn't his best game. He still looks a little bit rusty. I'm not gonna lie. He looks a little bit rusty. He played in a midfield 3, which, look, for me, that's not where we've signed him for. We've signed him to be the left back. And so he got stuck in. He made some runs down the left hand side, but I think it was the right decision to bring him off at half time. He got 45 minutes under his belt. He's still building. It doesn't mean that he's not very good. It doesn't mean that there's an issue there. It just means that we're building his fitness, and it's going to take a little bit of time. Honestly, it'll be the same way in which we will, I think, eventually do with Joe Willock. Joe Willock hasn't had a pre-season. He's going to need to build into the season and build his fitness levels to build into that, to be what Tonali and Bruno were tonight. He's going to need time. Lewis Hall didn't have a pre-season because Pochettino didn't give him any minutes, because I don't think Pochettino wanted him as part of the squad. He barely played the game in America. So I think those boys are going to need a little bit of time to get up to speed, Willock and Lewis Hall. But I'm more than confident that when they do get up to speed, they'll be absolutely fine. So not a massive worry for me. I've got to be honest. But we've got over 100 in the chat, over 120 in the chat. If you haven't already, click the like. It says on there, hit the like and subscribe to the channel. Lots of subscriptions, a lot of likes already tonight. Let's get us up to over 100 likes and beyond. If you haven't already, click that button already. Man United away in the next round of the cup, but we knocked out the should we say the odds-on favourites, Baz?
Yeah, I think you could. You can look at the best team in Europe last season. So yeah, look at it's all positive, including the draw. Look, it'd be nice to knock Man United out. How good would that be? How good would that feel after what happened last season in the cup final? So yeah, all to play for. Pete, tell us what's happening tomorrow because I uploaded the picture.
He's got it ready. We are back for away days, and yeah, the great company that is for sure. No Nay Never podcast. For any of you that have been with us or along for the journey of away days, will know that No Nay Never have been with us on the channel before to preview the massive fixture now. Newcastle United against Burnley, and we've got Natalie that's going to be coming and joining us to talk all things Newcastle and Burnley. 7:30 tomorrow night. Can't wait to discuss this game after the fantastic win tonight. And as always, we don't stop. We won't stop on Loaded Mag NUFC. We'll continue to bring you the content. You will have Keith back in with the stats. Chris, I'm sure, will be joining us again to talk all things Newcastle United for the weekend. And yeah, really looking forward to it. And certainly after the result tonight, that is for sure. But Away Days is back tomorrow night, 7:30. Don't be late.
Are there 120 people watching us now? I couldn't see with my glass without my glasses.
Yeah. Over 120 people.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah. 120 people watching us. Let's get those likes in, guys. Let's get guys and girls. Let's get those likes in to support the channel. If you're new to it, click that sub. Give us a sub. Yeah, let's get us up to that. That 7K. We're on the march to 7K. We've had another 10 plus subs tonight. Thank you very much for your support to the channel. Just had a little check. Brilliant. We have smashed right up. We were languishing on 50 about 20 minutes ago. We're smashed up to 110 likes
Nice one.
out of nothing. So thank you guys for your support. For all of you guys that have been with us right from the beginning of this show, massive thank you. For those that have joined late, a big thank you to you too. And click the like as we are here.
Pete, if we beat Man United, or when we beat Man United, the scramble for cup final tickets starts then. You know that?
Yeah, I'm going to decline to answer or talk about any of that conversation because, for obvious reasons. But yeah, there will be an absolute clamour for those tickets. There's no doubt about it. But look, let's get there first. And like you said, Daz, we should be confident in winning that game.
Why not? Okay, I don't like that if we're at home, I'd be more confident. But I think they're not having a great season. Things falling apart in the background. It's they might have it sorted by the time this game comes around. But I don't know. There's something underlying in there that doesn't seem right either. So I'd be delighted to smash them every time. We paid them back in the league after the cup final. So why not? We've got nothing to fear going to them. It's just what we have available to us and the games. And it's as I said, it's the same for both teams. We're going to need to rotate a bit. So yeah, who wants it more on the day? It's going to be the telling factor.
You're absolutely right. Scotty said more watch-alongs alongside the lads. Massive thanks to you for tuning in and supporting the channel. Mike Gent says thank you, Loaded, for watch-along, taking time out of your diaries for us NUFC fans. It doesn't go unnoticed with me, fellow. And Mike Gent, you've been a massive support all through the show, as many of us have, watching us right from the start. Lots of others as well. Arsenal for life. Congrats on beating City. You can beat United too. And yeah, you're absolutely right. We can beat Man United. There is no doubt about it. As Daz has said, the Man United game is looking like the 30th or the 1st of November, around that sort of week.
31st, I think, will probably land now.
Yeah, and as Jano says, yeah, it's exactly what Dad said. Week commencing 30th of October. But yeah, we are right in the mix, that's for sure. And I'm getting loads of messages through from Liverpool fans, and United fans to say, well done, Newcastle United, for knocking them out the cup. That's for sure.
31st of October, that's Halloween. So, fireworks that night.
Oh, we better hope so. We better hope there's some fireworks, that's for sure. Definitely.
Hey, you never know, we might do another watch-along.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? We can get some Man United fans on. And if Said's not at the game, we can get him on. We can get Keane on. That's for sure. Like we'll work on it. We'll see how it rolls. But brilliant stuff. But Daz, should we wrap up for tonight?
Let's wrap up. There's only, you've probably run out of brandy at this stage, Pete, so we better wrap up. Right, maybe you've done this already, but a shout out to the radiatorshed.com. You know all about Rusty's rads at this stage, so you know where to get them. Actually, he's got a new brochure out that you can download as well. So if you are interested in radiators, or you know someone that's interested in radiators, or you have a fetish for radiators, look no further than the radiatorshed.com, and Russ will sort you out with all those radiators. Also, a shout out to H2O Bathroom Design Co. And if you need bathrooms and anything to do with bathrooms and showers and all your needs there, go check out what H2O Bathroom Design Co. have on offer. I'm not going to do the story or the pictures, you know already, and go check out the website because that'll have the latest information, and talk to the guys and they'll sort you out. Mention Loaders, you'll get a discount, so it'll be well worth your while if you're in that market. That's it then, Pete, I guess. I know I come on late getting my little boy to bed because my wife is late tonight working. So do we have him here? We do. Probably that the last thing to say is, and we'll give you the last word, Pete.
How'd you like that, guys?
Good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Get it. Back again.
Drink it, like we